And we are live. Yo, what is up? What is good, ladies and gentlemen? I just realized that was King of Lightning's intro again. I keep plagiarizing the Kingu. But I don't care. What is up? What is good? How's everybody doing? Today I want to do something a little different. I'm tired of my channel going silent every time there's no chapter, and I don't think that I'm going to be continuing my Tower of God read-throughs on stream for the foreseeable future. So instead, we decided to keep the topic solely One Piece, and I decided to bring on somebody with one of the hottest takes in the community right now. Y'all know him, y'all love him. He is the head of the Zoro killing Kaido movement, my boy Aofiji.
Hey man, thanks for having me, bro.
Hey,
I'm excited to discuss some One Piece with you, just Wano as a whole,
hey.
and a bit of the agenda on the side. You know what I'm saying? It has to be done.
Hey, bro, you can't have one of these conversations without having some type of agenda.
Of course, yeah, man. It's One Piece, bro. We all have our hopes and expectations from this arc, bro. This is something we've waited the entire post time skip for, right? It's like a lot is gonna be answered in this arc,
Oh,
so
absolutely,
we're excited. Yeah.
absolutely. And all right, not sure if you've been keeping up with the anime recently, Fiji, but anime came back, and some people liked it, some people didn't. Me myself personally, I enjoyed it. I thought the animation was solid. I thought it was smooth. Some people are taking issue with the Sakuga animation. But that's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about the anime. We're here to talk about a few topics, actually. One of them including the state of Wano, how's the arc been building up compared to what we've been looking forward to. We got Onigashima matchups. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Who's gonna fight who? How will they be separated? Who's gonna be taking on who? The main event of this whole discussion: will Zoro kill Kaido, and how Wano will end? And we're pretty much just gonna wrap it up with new crew member possibilities and next arc predictions. So,
Sounds perfect, bro.
hey man, I try. And again, thank you for coming on. It means a lot. Thank you to everybody
Thank
who's in the chat right now. Damn, there are already people talking, like talking heavy too.
Boa is overhyped trash. Goddamn.
Word.
we we already like that, man.
Yo, and anybody in the chat, if the audio sounds a little wonky or needs some adjusting, please let me know. I am constantly looking at the chat. I got like 3 different screens with the chat pulled up right now. So if anything is going a little off rails or somebody needs to be turned up, let me know. But the state of Wano, let's talk about it. So Fiji, since I want to say as far as Thriller Bark, maybe even sooner, was somewhere close to the first mentionings of Wano country and what it was, and pretty much what it was all about.
Yeah.
Since Wano,
Thriller Bark.
yeah, Thriller Bark. When I think it was
Ryuma. It was Zoro Ryuma.
was it Ryuma who mentioned it, or was it Brook who first
Hogback.
mentioned it?
I'm pretty sure it was Hogback. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So since Thriller Bark, since the first mentions of Wano country in Thriller Bark, we've had so much hype for this series from the story, from in canon, from in the story, from Oda himself, and from the editors. Excuse me. Now, based off of all of that hype, what were you going into this arc expecting? Because me personally, since we got to Dressrosa, since we got to Punk Hazard, and we picked up Kinemon and Momonosuke, and they told us we're headed to Wano, we got the sense that Wano is very close. And every arc, it kind of ruined the expectations of Wano, ruined a lot of arcs for me just because of that buildup. What were you going into Wano, or what were you leading into Wano expecting?
So I have to say, I was not expecting this much setup and build up. I mean, we're 80 chapters into the arc, and like the battles haven't started yet. And I don't have much of an issue with that, because I personally do love setup in One Piece. I feel like that's integral to every single arc. I mean, Water 7 is technically set up for Enies Lobby, and that's a really long arc, and I love Water
Mm-hmm.
7, one of my favorite arcs. So, setup is great, but with an arc like this, where we had an entire saga setting it up, I mean, it's been set up since technically Punk Hazard, right? I feel like it has been a bit excessive, but I understand why, because Oda is trying to hammer down the entire, like the regional aspect of the conflict. Because this is obviously a battle between Luffy and the Emperors, but then again, it's a battle between the Scabbards and Orochi and Kaido, and wanting to free Wano and save them from the tyrannous oppressors that are Kaido, Orochi. So I get why there was all this setup, the Odin flashback, Act 2 showing us the problems in the country with the smile fruits, all of that. I just feel like it could have been handled a lot more quicker, and it could have been handled a lot more efficiently. Because at this point, it's like it's been 80 whole chapters, and like the amount I cared for the people of Wano in Act 1 till now hasn't really changed. Like in Act 1, I felt bad enough for them after seeing like Tama. Tama was a great way to start the arc to me. Act 1 is amazing to me because it sets up the country. You get attached to some of the characters. Tama, Luffy's promise to Tama, like that's a great kickoff to this massive arc basically. And from there, I was just expecting it to maybe take like 50 or so chapters to get into the meat of the arc, but it's taken much, much longer than that.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, bro. I definitely do. A lot of the setup for Wano is ooh, excuse me. A lot of setup in Wano leading into Onigashima, I feel like plays a big part in my disappointment in Wano as a whole. Because personally, moving into Wano, I thought that I was not expecting an emperor to be here. I mean, there was speculation that Kaido, even before we knew that Kaido was even here, we saw the Sakura trees when X Drake first got the news of Doflamingo being
Yeah,
defeated. And they said that and when we knew that Drake was on a winter island, people were speculating, this is Wano. That's Wano. This is Kaido's
yeah.
territory. I would have been okay with the idea that Wano was Kaido's territory because, the emperors take territory within the New World. I would have been okay. I'm okay with that. What I wasn't overly thrilled about is the fact that Kaido was in Wano, and I feel like that took away from a lot of the excitement that was the buildup that we got for Wano. Wano was supposed to be this country of insane swordsmen, and a lot of us were expecting this to be, Zoro's
Oh,
arc. We were expecting
okay,
this to
okay,
be like
okay.
Zoro's arc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see where you're coming from with that, and I actually agree. If this was like a separate arc outside of the Yonko conflict, where there
Exactly.
was a different antagonist that we had to face off against, and like because everything has been chalked down to the Yonko, right? Which is great, and it makes sense. The New World is run by the Yonko, but this one island, like I was expecting more from the samurai, right? I wanted some more
Exactly.
badass samurai. I wanted I like the only named sword we've had in the arc so far is like Kawamatsu's, bro. I want more of that. I want to see some supreme grades. I want to see some fire blades. I want to see basically I just want to see some lit swordsmen. You know me. I love my swordsmen,
Oh,
bro. So,
absolutely, bro. You and me both. I've said this on my
yeah.
channel 1,000 times. The reason that One Piece drew me in so much is because one of their main characters was a swordsman. And
Yeah.
around the time that I got into One Piece, it was the height of the Dragon Ball era where everybody had to shoot beams of light out of their hands in order to be hype.
Yeah.
And
Exactly, yeah.
and the one character that used the sword in Dragon Ball was Trunks, was future Trunks when he came back. And even he threw his sword down and just started shooting
And just
lights.
started shooting blast. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah. So as a
But
guy whose favorite characters are like I don't know if you've seen Gintama or Gintoki, swordsman, Guts from Berserk, swordsman, Musashi from Vagabond, swordsman, samurai. Like I love my swordsman. These are
the
all like
vagab
my favorite characters.
the vagabond
So
hype, bro.
yeah, I'm reading that right now. That shit crazy,
Oh
bro.
my god, bro. Oh, we will talk about that at some point. We have to talk about that at some point.
It's insane, bro. I got like the entire set right behind me right now. I ordered it all in physicals. This
Hey,
like all I have to say is the art is another. It's like it's different. The art is different.
mwah.
But yeah,
The art for Vagabond is next level. It is absolutely gorgeous, bro. But
absolutely.
but falling back on what I was saying, yeah, I was expecting Wano to be, like you said, a separate situation from an Emperor conflict. I was expecting it to be a more build up for Kaido, because we pretty much got build up for Big Mom in excuse me, for Big Mom in Fishman Island, and then going into Whole Cake, and we're still dealing with her. I was expecting Wano to be the first major disrespect to Kaido, rather than just destroying the Smile Factory. I was expecting to come into Wano, and you couldn't throw a rock without hitting somebody that was equal to or somewhat stronger than Zoro, which would have given
Okay.
him some kind of a challenge. Because
Yeah.
let's be honest, since we came into the new world, Zoro hasn't had much of a challenge. He hasn't.
So he hasn't had a challenge at all, which is unfortunate, and that's where all the power scaling issues come from. That's
Yeah,
where all the
right.
power issues come from, because we have nothing to go off of. We have nothing to base it off of, because he hasn't been challenged, and then at the same time, it's like it's just too, yeah. It's so convoluted with him. At least with Luffy, we've seen him go to his extremes, so
Yeah,
we can
we've seen
kind
him
of gauge where
struggle.
he's at.
We've
But
seen Luffy struggle though. With Zoro, people will make the argument that he struggled against Pika, but the only real struggle that he had was, locking him down somewhere. Because Pika had
yeah,
so much maneuverability that it just made it unfair.
yeah, exactly. And the whole issue is with Zoro. I feel like one thing that he does lack in is mobility. And when you're fighting against a massive fucking mountain like that, like the way he had to defeat Pico was like really confusing. Like if
Yeah,
Elizabeth wasn't there, he would have lost. Like he would have technically lost, because he wouldn't have won and gained his objective, because he would have taken Pico out, but it would have smashed the entire like country. So he's lucky that King Punch was there. That was like, I think people sleep on the threat that Pika was. Pika was a problem for the people in Dressrosa. People definitely sleep on Pika in terms of like a threat wise, because he's just a bit of a joke when it comes to like his character.
yeah, and this is pretty much a sidebar to the conversation, but the power scaling in the One Piece community, I like, no shade to anybody, but the power scaling discussions in this community, it sucks. It really does.
It does, yeah. It
Because
does.
if you're not competing with Luffy, you're trash. And if you are stronger than Luffy, you're absolute fire, god tier. There is no in between. It's
Yeah.
either you're strong or you're trash. There is no middle ground. You ask people about Usopp and they say, "Oh, he's absolutely trash. He gets one shot. He gets no diff." Okay,
Hmm.
in comparison to the rest of the Straw Hats, I will agree. Usopp is on the lower tier of excuse me. Usopp is on the lower tier of, the power scale. But in
Hmm.
terms of the general scope of the world, Usopp was mowing down scores of fishmen at Fishman Island, which, if you remember, back in East Blue, back in Kokoyashi Village, the Arlong arc, he was having trouble with just one.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a, and fishmen are already said to be like normal fishmen are said to
Ten
be
times stronger than
10
men.
times stronger than any man. Now Usopp went from struggling and cowering away from one fishman to mowing down an army of them at a time. He showed that's a huge jump in his power scale, and if you ask me. But if you ask most people in a discussion of where Usopp stands in terms of power, yeah, he's just trash.
Yeah. A lot of people would say that. A lot of people would say that.
It's
And
it's
it's like, I don't know, because for all you know, Oda is gonna give him a massive role in this arc where he assists in taking out like a flying six, for all you know. Like not on a 1v1, but like that's people call him trash, but like he's gonna end up doing something impressive regardless. I think all of the Straw Hats from a fighting standpoint are gonna have a role to play. I don't think we're gonna get 1v1s for all of them, but they're all gonna have some good feats in this arc, and Usopp's gonna
absolutely
be one of them.
absolutely one of what people seem to sleep on, in my opinion at least, is the tactical aspect of a fight. and
Exactly.
and in this, I'm definitely like giving the reason for all of that to the Naruto and Dragon Ball community, because everything goes from hand to hand to who can create the biggest explosion, who can cause the most destruction in an area of effect, instead of just who's the more tactical fighter, who has the most utility. That's why when people talk about Big Mom and call her absolutely trash, I look at her utility and go, well, she controls elements. She can pretty much create a weapon out of anything in her surroundings. She has the Elbaf spear, which previously the only other time we've seen it took two of what we now know to be two legendary captains.
Mm-hmm.
So and even now they still call it trash when we've seen her clash with Kaido for a couple hours and to a stalemate. But
Yeah.
but let's get back on topic. This
Yeah, no, no.
the
It
state
happens
of
with One
Wano.
Piece. You would get sidetracked.
Oh hell yeah! That's why Brago streams used to go on for hours.
They still do, bro. Whenever he does stream.
All right, yeah, the state of Wano. Like I was saying, I was expecting to come in here and we were gonna get pretty much an island adventure at like sort of arc similar to how we did with Alabasta. We travel around,
Okay.
the crew kind of gets separated, and they gather forces. They gather together Wano. And you said something about Orochi. I mean, yeah, Orochi earlier, and that's also a part of my big disappointment with Wano, because if you frequent
Yeah.
if you frequented the Oro Jackson before it got shut down,
Bro. Yeah.
everybody, and I literally mean everybody, was expecting the Shogun of Wano to be like a big fucking threat. When I say big, I mean big. He was gonna be the world's strongest swordman, second to Mihawk. Like he was going to be some kind of big threat when it came to a sword, and I was extremely hyped for that.
We all expecting that, man. Like I wasn't part of the community back then, but I read that chapter with disappointment when we got the Orochi character design reveal. I remember just reading it and sighing. Massive disappointment. I still had faith for his character, and I guess he did kind of like in some aspects deliver in terms of being a cunning antagonist, and in the backstory I think he was kind of cool, and I feel like the way he plans things and stuff. Orochi has had some dope moments where he comes across as this like maniacal mastermind, but overall definitely not what I was expecting at all.
I feel like Oda delivered on what he wanted to with Orochi. He wants us to hate Orochi, and yeah, we did. We do. We hate this guy. And he did deliver on some aspects. He's cunning. He's actually really smart. He even has an okay devil fruit for the most part. And being a Zoan, he has to have some kind of durability. I just don't think that he's the most capable hand-to-hand fighter. So if Orochi isn't dead, which I don't believe that he is, his main fighting style is going to be in his Orochi form, like in his 8-headed snake form.
I'm like really confused with Orochi because I think so basically I made a video saying like why he's dead. I'm not 100% sure on it. In the video I say I'm not 100% sure on it.
Yeah.
But it's a massive conversation because we don't want to get sidetracked. But my main thing with Orochi is if he's alive, what is his purpose? Because he's lost the main thing he had on his side, and that was Kaido. And now that he doesn't have Kaido beside him, he is not a threat whatsoever. Like he actually doesn't matter anymore at all to the people of this arc.
Absolutely not. The only reason Orochi was a threat is because he had Kaido behind him. Without Kaido, he has absolutely no power. And again, my disappointment with Wano, the fact that we got here and swordsmanship has been outlawed for the past 20 years. If that wasn't the case, Orochi and his forces would still be some kind of threat. They would still be some kind of threat. They'd be able to take out the majority of Kaido's crew, because I don't think the gifters and the pleasures and the waiters are all that threatening. And in a big group, sure, I'll agree with that, because an army of fire ants could take down a lion. That's the way that I like. That I like
I feel that. I feel that for sure. And you see, the thing is, I feel like some of them might still deliver. Like some of the guys in the Mimawari Gumi, I've seen some of their designs. They look like some of Orochi's men. They don't look like they might be crazy with it, but they might be like comparable to some of the scabbards, maybe. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll see. But I've seen like some of them have some fire designs. So to me, if you have a badass design, you should be strong in One Piece. Obviously, there's exceptions, like say for Raisin, for example, dude looks like Madara and he's trash. But there are definitely exceptions. But general rule of thumb, if they look raw, they're usually kind of strong in One
Yeah. Right.
Piece. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he has got some guys that look kind of cold on his side that we saw. Like in the latest chapter, there was one guy, we don't know his name yet, but after Orochi was killed, he was just sipping his tea and he was just chilling. Like, and he just looks raw. So I'm expecting something from him. But overall, Samurai and Wano have been pretty trash.
Oh my god. The only ones that I still have hope for are the ones that joined our side. Because
Yeah.
and this is one of the moments that I love to give Usopp, because I don't know why I love espionage movies like Mission Impossible and all of that. When Usopp when they were passing out the slips to let people know, yo, it's going down, meet here. The guy that Usopp planted the note on, swordsmanship has been outlawed for 20 years, and this guy doesn't look like he's on Orochi's side. Why is he walking around with a sword? Is he really that strong that he can just oppose people, and he's still walking around in the flower capital? So it was them, it was him. There was a couple other people that had, that had the excuse me, that had some focus when they were going over those little slips that everybody had. Those are the people that I looked at and went, they're going to have fight. They're going to be in this big war, but they're going to be the main focus. These are the ones that I had hope for. Like in Marineford, we got the commanders and we got the allied captains, but there were only a specific few that we actually saw doing something. Like, for example, there was a swordsman in Marineford. He looked like he looked like a biker, but he had a cigar and his sword. In the anime, they made him touch his sword to the cigar, and it caught fire. I think his name was Doma. No, not Doma, but Doma's another one. The guy with the monkey on his shoulder. Fucking loved him. And going back, like you said, going back to what you said, if they have a fire design, chances are they're going to be some kind of hype.
Yeah.
Most likely. But yeah, those are really the only people that I have actual hope for. The Yakuza bosses that we freed from the prison, feel like they're just influencers. Some of the people in the prison maybe, and with Kaido telling every one of the samurai, join the Beast Pirates or die. At this point, I feel like we have absolutely no choice but to accept them on our side. The enemy of my enemy is now my friend. And what kind of angers me about that is the fact that even when Luffy was doing his training, even when Zoro got Enma, I still felt like Luffy and his side had absolutely no chance of winning. That that's just the way that I felt. But now, with all of these allies and everybody coming to our side, especially when Marco and Nekomamushi and them showed up, I feel like there's no way Kaido's gonna win. And then he kills Orochi, who's his biggest, who's like his biggest, I guess you could say benefactor, for lack of a better
when
word.
it comes to like oppressing Wano, yeah, he's like the most important like card that he had.
Yeah, and now Kaido just nixed a large portion of his army. Like, granted, Kaido already has a huge army with the Beast Pirates, but Jesus Christ, you just took out a large portion of your army for what? Just to assert dominance. And and at this point, I really don't think that, I've really lost all faith that Kaido is going to win this fight. And there are people,
like Morge, for example, like there's a fat portion of the community who are certain that we're losing, like that the raid is gonna end in failure, right? Like, look, Salamander in the chat just said Mr. Morge rubbing his hands together, waiting for this raid to end in failure.
Yeah.
And look, I am actually open to that. I feel like it would be an amazing move from a writing standpoint because of the potential that can do. It can help with growth for a lot of the characters. It can give us some very emotional scenes where like all hope is lost. Luffy can have a very a moment as being a great captain, having to instill hope back into everybody's heart. I would love it. It would be amazing for the arc. But I just don't see it happening at this point because
Yeah,
look,
right. Look,
we've had 80 chapters of setup already, right? Firstly, 80 chapters of setup. Secondly, the issue with the issue with them taking a massive L here is how the hell do they survive? How do you write that logically? How do they take a loss and not all be killed? Like what?
especially with what Kinemon said and the fact that they destroyed their
Exactly.
ships on like as soon as they landed
Ex-
on Onigashima. And
exactly. And on top of the fact that we know Kaido is willing to chop dudes' heads off. He's gonna kill
exactly.
them. Like he's actually willing to kill him throwing Luffy into prison again. I think Luffy will make sense because he wants to break his will and he's strong. But everyone else, he's probably gonna want to just kill them. They're no use to him.
Looking at
So
looking at it from a One Piece perspective, we technically the raid already failed. Momonosuke was captured,
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
like everything fell apart. This was supposed to be a sneak attack. We were supposed to have the element of surprise, and for the most part we do. But Orochi and Kaido, they know that the samurai are on their way. They know Kanjuro knows that we're already here. You know, there's a lot of things that went wrong, but from a One Piece perspective, everything always goes wrong. Look at the assault on fuck, you just said it. Goddamn. Ennis Lobby. Look at the assault on Ennis
Oh
Lobby.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
that went tits up as soon as we got there. Like no, absolutely no question. Hell, even when we got to Wano, the plan went straight down the toilet. Law and Kinemon told them, don't get caught, don't be seen. Make sure you keep a low profile. Soon as Luffy got there, he went crazy. He started messing with people. There's no keeping a plan together when it comes to Luffy. So technically the raid has already kind of sort of failed. Technically speaking.
It has technically, yeah, it has. I would like right now it's definitely failed because Kaido knows that they're all there. Like Kanjuro came and told him and shit. So it has failed, but at the same time, it hasn't completely failed because I don't think Kaido knows that the entire army's here. Like he knows, but then he doesn't know where they are exactly because right now they're right in front of his face. Robin,
Yeah, he
Jinbei,
know
Hyogoro, they're all right there. I don't think he knows that they're right in front of him, but he knows that they're nearby.
he knows that Luffy, Kid, Zoro, and Killer are there. They know they literally are making the most noise out there, and the Flying Six saw them. I think it was Kaido who I think Kaido even got the report that they were in there, and he just said, leave them be."
Yeah, he doesn't really give a fuck. That's why my expectation for this arc moving forward, like, we can talk about that in the next portion, in the how Wano will end portion, or
Yeah,
in the Onigashima match-ups portion.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
best way to do it. Because I have an interesting expectation.
yeah. I was about to say something. Fuck. Oh no, that's a part of the new crew member possibilities and everything. But all right, since we're already talking about the Onogashima matchups and everything, let's transition over from that. Oh wait. Last disappointment with the Wano arc. Like I said, that I was disappointed that Kaido and Wano were two things that ended up being together. And like I said, I wanted Wano to be its own separate thing. Excuse me.
Mhm.
I feel like if Wano being its own arc would have added to the beauty of the world building of One Piece.
Yeah,
Since we got here, this hasn't been the Wano arc. This has been the Kaido arc. And now that technically we're off of Wano, this is now the Onigashima portion of it. This is the Onigashima arc now. Wano has been absolutely disappointing in my opinion. Well, I'm not gonna say 100% disappointing because I still like Wano and what it was from 20 years ago, but right now it's just not what I was promised. And I get it, Oda likes to subvert expectations, but this was just false advertising for me at least. It was just false advertising. But
I can see where you're coming from. That
yeah,
I can see that. Yeah,
but yeah, Onigashima matchups. Uh, we had a stream for you, Fiji, right? The top 25 or 20 people.
yeah,
The top
yeah.
20
Top 20.
strongest
Yeah,
people in
yeah,
Onigashima right now, in Wano right
yeah.
now. And I think that was a pretty good a pretty good setup as to who might be matched up with who. We had all of the forces and who was where and who could do what. Personally, I still don't have matchups completely figured out in my head, but I do believe that, you know, everybody's not going to get a 1v1. I think
I agree.
I feel like some people are tag teaming, and I know there are a lot of people who believe that Zoro is going to be fighting King at this point. Personally, I don't think that is the best course of action right now. I feel like Zoro still needs an in between before he goes to King, because Zoro could 100% be ready to take on King right now, but going from absolutely dominating his previous opponents to, you know, 1v1ing and I guess you could say a vice captain or a right hand. I feel like it's not enough build up for his power in order for us to, you know, competently understand that Zoro is ready for this. So my matchup for Zoro right now is probably Who's Who, and I don't want Who's Who to have a devil fruit. I really, really don't. I don't.
Oh, you want him to just be a fighter?
Yeah,
I feel like that saber tooth devil fruit coming, man. His crew got the cat theme.
His squad,
I mean, like,
man.
yeah, his whole crew got a cat theme and shit. I don't know, man. I feel like we should expect that. But when it comes to the whole King thing, I definitely see where you're coming from, right? I definitely get what you're trying to say. At this point, I still think we're gonna get that fight, even though it might not be the best course of action in everyone's minds. I don't really mind it much, but
Zoro
I feel like
King,
the biggest Zoro versus King, right? I think the biggest missed opportunity is to not give Zoro a fight, like a serious fight, before Wano. Before we came into Wano. If we had somewhere where he was actually challenged in a 1v1 before this, then we would have been able to properly gauge his strength, right? But for me, right, I basically had Zoro. I had. So I don't want to get too into power scaling because no one's gonna agree and it's just all confusing. But I would say this: I had Zoro like close to commander level before Enma, right? So I had him like flying 6 commander level before Enma. Like Who's Who. I think he would have been able to beat Who's Who before Enma, right?
Okay.
And then now with Enma plus an entire week of training, we know what a week of training is for shonen MCs, right? Like if you think back to Water 7 and NES Lobby, they got whooped by Lucci, right? And then 12 hours later, literally the next morning, they were able to beat Lucci, Kaku, characters that they shouldn't have been able to beat just because the plot demanded it from them. They got these power-ups out of nowhere, and it was an arse pool. Like, everyone will attest to that.
Well,
that shit's...
For Luffy,
it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, against Lucci, the man fought to the point where he literally had to will himself to stay up, and he just did Gatling with the new technique that he'd been developing. I will say that I understand how he developed gear 3rd and 2nd up until that point, because he even said it when he met Aokiji. He knew he had to get stronger. He knew he needed something to put him up. So he started developing gear 3rd, but it had that massive drawback to it. And then when he met CP9, he saw them do the shave, and he came up with his own way of mimicking that. But I will agree, on some levels it was kind of ass pulley. And mostly for me, the biggest example of that is Sanji. I get Sanji needed a power up, but how did he start developing Diable Jambe? When did he start to understand he needed to get stronger? And I get it. Oh, you don't need to verbalize when everybody needs to get stronger. You don't need to tell it every time. But Sanji just coming up with Diable Jambe out of nowhere made no sense to me. Like, it was cool. It was cool and it was hype, and I absolutely love the fact that
it's a fire attack. It looks dope. Quite literally fire. But it's like, for Luffy and Zoro, since they're two characters who are like Zoro, for example, he's 24/7 training and trying to get stronger. So a power up kind of made sense. I still don't really like Ashura because we haven't had it explained. But once it's explained, I'm sure that we'll look back on it and say, you know what, that's not that much of an art spool.
Let me
Because I
ask you a
hope it's
question.
explained.
Let me ask you a
Go ahead.
question regarding Ashura. What do
Go
you
ahead.
think it is? Do you think it's a
I
result
think
of the curse on his sword? Do you believe that
nah.
it's conqueror's hockey? Do you think that he's literally a demon? Like what?
I
What?
think I think it is. So it's already been said by Kaku that it's a manifestation of his aura, right? And this has never been touched upon in One Piece properly, right? But I do think that. So I got this massive video coming up, but I do think there's something that's peculiar about Zoro's fighting style. Like when he remember when he used that no sword style in the fucking Davy back fight arc.
Yeah.
He used the no sword style attack, and what he did was he basically manifested his aura into like this dragon, and he actually attacked somebody without using his swords through a manifestation of his aura. People look at it and they just think it's a gag, but I actually think that's something he can do. It sounds wild, but when I
No, it's
compile
not.
all of it and show you, it's like there's so every single time Zoro does an attack, there's always like an aura thing behind him. You don't always remember it, but there's always like this animal or something behind him. Like look at his arm, right? The gorilla arms. I think that's a manifestation of his aura. So I know Joy Boy did a video on this recently, right? It's like it's got some shit to do with Buddhism, and it's a very deep and intricate topic.
Yeah,
But
I've seen it.
yeah, I think there's more to Ashura than meets the eye, and when it's explained, it should make a lot of sense. I feel
The-
like it's his aura, but the reason why that sounds crazy is because we have never seen that explained in One Piece before, and that to us that's just haki, right? So we're gonna just have to find out more.
Yeah, the way that I rationalize it is like it's a lot like how, well, I'm not even gonna say it's like that, but the way that I rationalize it myself is the fact that conqueror's hockey has already been stated to be intimidation. It's imposing your will on someone else, and we already know that Zoro, out of everyone in the crew, I'd even go as far as to say even Luffy. He's been shown to have signs of certain forms of hockey before even Luffy. Back in back in Alabasta, what people speculate is that he was showing signs of observation hockey in the fight against Mr. One. And what we now know of how to cut steel, it's a form. It has to do with it's a combination of a technique plus armament hockey. And personally, I think Ashura is just a different way of Zoro using Conqueror's hockey subconsciously. You know how Luffy would, excuse me, Luffy, like we know that there are ways that you can use Conqueror's hockey. It's imposing your full will onto one specific person and taming that person or animal. We've seen Luffy do it in, I can't remember the name of their base, but the Flying Fish Riders when when Duval's bull charged at Luffy and he just put his hand down and just basically told him sit, and he stopped. And then there's that instant that just big ass burst of Conqueror's hockey that just KOs everybody in a certain range depending on how strong their will is. The way Ashura works, I feel like it's Zoro not so much sending out a big burst of it, but leaking out Conqueror's hockey to intimidate his opponent, thus giving them the illusion of a demon coming at them. I forgot what series I was reading. I really do, and I swear to God, this is gonna kill me while I'm at work. They described going up against somebody. In some series when they're fighting someone, they say, I can feel their bloodlust coming off of this person. The way Zoro uses Ashura, I feel like it can be explained something like that, but with Conqueror's hockey. You can feel the bloodlust coming off of this person. It's something like a wolf stalking a rabbit from the bushes. You feel the killing intent.
Yeah.
But you just don't know. You know you're gonna die, but you don't know when it's going to come or how it's going to come. And that fear is making these people visualize this demon, this monster coming from Zoro. And
that would be dope as fuck.
yeah, it's stereotypical. Like it's mad
It fits
cliche.
him though. It fits his theme though, right? Because that has happened before. Like in Sabodi, people were like, "Yo, this guy, his killing intent." People are scared of
Yeah,
his killing intent, so it makes perfect sense. So I don't give a damn if something is cliche or generic as long as it's
as long as
executed
it's
well, bro.
handled well. And
Exactly, bro.
I feel like that's another thing that a lot of the community tends to like shit on Oda for. The fact that he doesn't, the fact that they expect Oda to do the most mind-blowing thing is exactly why when he does the cliche thing, it still turns out amazing and they still shit on him because it's cliche. If it's executed well, if it's handled properly, then then it works. Yeah,
Yeah,
Gon, you got it. That you hit it right on the. You hit the hammer on the. You hit the nail on the head, bro. It was killing bites. It was killing
yeah.
bites. I just remembered it too. It was a girl. It was a girl with like badger hands and shit. Yeah, it was killing bites. Gon, thank you. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I think. That's what I think Zoro's Ashura is. I think it's a combination of his of conqueror's hockey, like he's showing signs of conqueror's hockey, and it's armament hockey.
Yeah.
Like armament and conqueror's hockey. They're visualizing a demon and they're visualizing a demon and they see the six heads because that's the type of killing intent. That's the beast that Zoro is imposing on this person. They see the six heads and either Zoro is slashing them fast enough to the point where they actually believe they're getting slashed by 9 different swords, or armament hockey actually can do what people have been theorizing for the past couple years,
And it can.
creating almost phantom limbs, which is why a lot of people believe that Shanks still has 2 arms.
Yeah. That shit wild as fuck to me, but we'll see, bro. Cause it's like I don't know, man. That would be so wild. To
Yeah,
me, right? The thing with Shanks like having a phantom limb, I just feel like that would invalidate his sacrifice a bit. It would like take
yeah,
away from
right.
the sacrifice. Like the whole point of it was I am losing an arm for your sake, and I'm wagering a bet on the new era. So if he just loses it and then boom, he can use Haki
And
and make a new one.
I feel
It's
like that
like
would take away from the badass aspect of it too, because he lost an arm and the guy just looked down and said, "Why are you crying? I still have another one." And he's just sitting there smiling. You lost an arm, dude. You lost an arm.
Uh, man, nah, nah. Like that's to me that is one of the strongest first chapters in manga. I think that's my favorite first chapter in manga, bro. Like it sets up the story so well. It gives Luffy a great motivation. It introduces a badass character. The art is great in chapter one. The vibes just like it's classic One Piece, right? The biggest theme of One Piece I would say is friendship and nakama. And that first chapter it hit the nail on the head for that. Chapter one, One Piece go.
Oh,
Had to just
absolutely.
say that quick.
Absolutely, bro. There
But
aren't
yeah,
there aren't many manga that I can go back to the first episode or the first chapter and reread it from the very beginning. But I will definitely agree with you that One Piece is one of the best, has one of the best first chapters that I've read in a lot of series.
I
Just
feel that.
it's absolutely amazing, bro.
Hmm.
Oh, yo, Swift, thank you for subscribing. I did not know that the alert was above, I meant below the thumbnail, so let's just fix that. All right. All right. I feel like we've been on. No, we haven't even talked about the Onigashima matchups like that.
Yeah, yeah, we've been
that
we've been getting
sidebar,
sidetracked.
that sidebar was amazing. But yeah,
It happens, man.
I mean, it's pretty much at this point. It's pretty much the conversation of the matchups in Onigashima. Pretty much is Luffy going to 1v1 Kaido, which I don't think he will. We have Kid there, we have Law there, and
Yeah.
even in the most recent color spread, I don't have it on tap with me, so I can't put it up on screen. We have Luffy, Law, and Kid sitting on top of 2 birds. Luffy and Kid are going back and forth with each other. They're pretty much fighting over a rice ball while Law's in the background. Just he's feeding his rice ball to smaller birds.
Yeah.
Now, this goes back to something that I've been saying for a long time, is that Luffy and Kid, to my knowledge, as a matter of fact, no, Luffy and Kid, as far as I know, Luffy and Kid are the only two supernovas who have actively said that they were looking for the One Piece. Law has never stated he was after the One Piece. In Sabaody, Luffy said, "I'm gonna be Pirate King. I'm looking for One Piece." And both Law and Kid looked at him like, "What the hell? Is he serious?"
Yeah.
But that's everybody's reaction to somebody saying they're looking for the One Piece. And then Kid tells Killer, whenever someone laughed at us when we said we were going after the One Piece, we killed them on the spot. And now this kid right here is saying it so happily and just doesn't care. Law has never made the statement that he was looking for the One Piece. Law's motivations as of right now is just continue through with the plan. Just continue through with the plan. After Kaido goes down, we have no idea what Law's motivations are. So personally,
We don't.
Yeah, so personally, I think the matchup for Kaido is going to be a large group of people, the entire army, after everybody else has been taken down. It's going to be a large army versus Kaido. And then it's going to whittle down into, the main cast, all of those people that we saw on that little spreadsheet that we had for your top 20 stream. And then it's going to whittle down to just the main crews. And afterwards, it's going to come down to Law, Luffy, and Kid versus Kaido. And personally, I believe that Law is going to get taken out, and then it's going to be Luffy and Kid and Zoro and possibly Killer versus Kaido. And this is a good, and we can. Do you feel like we can segue into the next topic, or do you want to continue with the Onigashima matchups for a little while?
So this is the thing, right? I think Onigashima. I think the final battle happens at the Flower Capital, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't think that we're going to stay in Onigashima. I feel like the battle is going to extend back into Wano just to show the people. Just to show the people that your tormentor, the person who is going to take you, who is trying to take you out, is going down by the hands of these outsiders.
That just has to be done. It's like that's the people have to see Kaido be defeated. The same way in Doflamingo, in Dressrosa, they saw Dofi get defeated. It's just like it's One Piece. Yeah, everybody watched it happen. That's like it's such a significant moment, right? But when it comes to the Flower Capital Onigashima, I think all the 1v1s are happening here, or like the fights that do happen that are 1v1, because I don't think we're going to get many, but I think King versus Zoro is one. I think Sanji versus Queen is also possible, right? And I think these fights are happening here on the Onigashima. But as these fights are happening, Kaido and Big Mom are going to make their way towards the Flower Capital, and that's where the climax is going to be. And by the way, I do think Big Mom goes down in this arc, and Kaido and Big Mom are like practically just as important as each other in terms of having to go down here. To me, this is the Yonko saga, and they both need to be dealt with in this arc, because I don't see Big Mom being recycled for yet another arc, because that would just be incredibly repetitive, and her being whatever arc she's in, she's gonna be the main antag just because of how powerful she is. So imagine her coming to the next arc and being a main antag again. I just don't see it happening. I don't see Oda having the same character like for 3 different arcs, same antag. That would be terrible, I think.
My take on that is I do believe that, like, the way that I see this going down, and this ties into the end of Wano, like how Wano will end, but I do believe that Big Mom is going to betray Kaido, because like Robin said back in Punk Hazard to Luffy, all pirate alliances end in betrayal. And with Kaido and Big Mom already having been in a crew together, and that crew has already been said to, they all hated each other, they were always going at each other's necks. I think that Kaido is going to try, Big Mom is going to betray Kaido at some point for whatever reason. And I do believe that Big Mom is moving on to Elbaf. That's where we differ in the opinion. I feel like Kaido is going to be the emperor that gets taken down in Wano, while Big Mom moves on to take the ultimate disrespect. Because in Whole Cake Island, while she was the biggest threat there, she wasn't the the main issue that we were dealing with. In my opinion, the main issue that we were dealing with was Katakuri. Yes, running away from Big Mom was a major point in that, but it wasn't just Big Mom. It was her entire crew. It was her and her entire crew.
Mhm.
And then moving into Wano, the main issues that we have to deal with are Kaido and Orochi. Orochi has been nixed out, and now Big Mom is in an alliance with Kaido, but essentially she doesn't give a fuck about anything that's going on in Wano. She just wants the power that Kaido has. And moving on from Wano, I feel like she's going to continue chasing the Straw Hats into Elbaf, because like they said in the Ace novel, an emperor, if you do anything to mess with an emperor, they will chase you to the ends of the earth until you are dead. And for some characters, like look at a Rouge. In my opinion, that's a feat that he went in to mess with Big Mom, and he's still alive. Like that, I feel like that's a feat. There are a lot of characters who I feel like people sleep on just because they went into an emperor's territory and lost. Kid went and messed with Shanks. He lost an arm, but he's still alive. His crew is still alive, and I feel like that's a big feat. But I also feel like that Big Mom has too many ties in Elbaf for her to be taken out taken out someplace that has absolutely nothing to do with her. Either in Elbaf or Fishman Island, or maybe you know how Oda structured his arcs. We have to defeat character X before bad thing number 1 happens. Otherwise, shit's going to be bad. We have to defeat Big Mom before something happens to Fishman Island or some shit like that. And I feel like that conflict is going to escalate on Elbaf. And that's how I think Big Mom is going to go down. I feel like she's going to Elbaf, and that's where she's going to fall. Whether it's from her, like people theorize, she's going to remember her eating Mother Caramel and her friends, which I don't think that there's anything there to remember because she didn't see it. She was in a blind ecstasy. But yeah, excuse me. But yeah, I think that Big Mom is going to Elbaf. I don't think that she's going down in Wano. I feel like Big Mom is going to be the emperor that gets the biggest disrespect out of all of them in terms of getting taken down. She got fucked with in Whole Cake in her own territory. She teamed up with another emperor and still managed to lose. And then she goes to Elbaf by herself. And then I feel like that's where Luffy might actually 1v1 an emperor and come out on top, or just barely come out on top. And that'll lead up into the build, and that'll build into the Blackbeard fight or his confrontation with Shanks if he has one.
Mm-hmm.
But
I can see that. I can definitely see that happening, like with the whole Elbaf stuff. I'll be a liar if I said that Big Mom doesn't have any importance to that narrative. She definitely does. But when it just comes to Big Mom, I definitely do feel like it's been set up for her to go out here. Like the big bad of this arc is set up to be the
emperors.
The reunion of rocks, basically. To me, right? I don't know if I've told you this, but to me, I think this is the lurking legend. Okay.
Oh, the rocks pirates themselves is the lurking legend.
I think the rocks pirates themselves is the lurking legend. Yeah, because like the year that Oda said they would like be in the story is the year we found out about them, right? And the thing with the rocks being the lurking legend, the reason it makes sense is because I don't think the lurking legend has to be an individual. I feel like lurking legend can mean the legend itself, the legend of the rocks pirates was lurking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be.
I 100% agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? So if they are the lurking legend, right? I feel like the whole point of it, like in the Jump Fest, no, Oda must have said the lurking legend is gonna be the biggest enemy that they will face up against. I think this is it. An alliance of 2 Yonko, that is the biggest opposition they're ever gonna face off against. That's what I think. The greatest enemy the Straw Hats will face, at least at this point, right? End of series, there's obviously going to be greater enemies they're going to end up facing against. They're probably going to go up against the entire world government and navy. That's something in of itself entirely, right? But right now, currently, I think this is the lurking legend, and I think Wano is the stage for it, and it's been set up for that. Because if you look at it, right, Big Mom has been getting an insane amount of focus in this arc, right? Even like if you look at Udon kind of technically set up a confrontation between Luffy and Big Mom later on in this arc. And the thing with Big Mom is she is so much of a wild card. I don't see her being able to just like I don't see how she doesn't get involved in the Luffy fight. So if Kaido was fighting these guys and Big Mom is around, how do you make it logical? You're gonna have to like how does it make sense for her to not get involved? I definitely think we're gonna be getting Big Mom and Kaido versus a lot of people at once.
Oh yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think it's literally
I know for a fact that you've seen the fan art of Big Mom riding Kaido.
Oh my god, that
Like
shit is fucking insane.
Bro.
If we get that,
If we get
imagine
that,
a double spread page at that, bro.
oh my god. There's fan art. I'll find it and I will send it to you. But there's fan art of Big Mom riding Kaido, Luffy
I've
in
seen it,
Gear
bro.
4, and Zoro on like Kaido's body running up it. And oh my god, this shit is amazing. The amount of
Yeah,
fan
One Piece
art that came
fandom
out
go
of
for fan art. Like
that.
when it comes to
hell
fan art,
yes. Hell
hey
yes.
man.
Bro. Oh. But yeah, fuck.
I feel like it's ending here, bro, for Big Mom personally. So that is definitely where we differ. Because you see an Elbaf, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it's the best for the story for her to just be dealt with here because it would be so repetitive to have her in 3 consecutive arcs.
Oh yeah,
because
to
this
continue
is like
to drag Big Mom, to continue to drag her out would it get played at that point because we've seen Big Mom through 3 different. At that point, we will have seen Big Mom through 3 different arcs. We know what she can do. One of them, she was out of her mind. Sure, you can say that that's a reason that she didn't completely take out the Straw Hats. The second one, she was teamed up with another emperor. How do you justify them not winning without it being stupid? Because like I said, I believe that Big Mom is going to betray Kaido at some point. But in the scenario,
I think so too.
In the scenario that you pose, especially if Big Mom and Kaido are teamed up against everybody, and she's riding him, and let's say you're right, and Zoro does deliver the final blow on Kaido, and Kaido falls to the ground with Big Mom still on him, and he's like, Lin, help me up, and she just goes, yeah, this is a lost cause, and then she just axes him off right there. How do you justify the rest of the Straw Hats and everybody getting away and Big Mom just fucking off without getting some kind of revenge? Because she already said that she's going to take out Luffy. She wants Luffy's head, and we already know that Big Mom will do anything. She would do anything to get back at people who don't fall in line with her. So if she knows that Luffy and them have ties to Wano, she's definitely going to destroy Wano if that means it's going to mess with Luffy. So how do you justify Big Mom just fucking off out of Wano after taking out Kaido and not pursuing Luffy? That's the real issue that I see in my logic when it comes to Big Mom continuing on to Elbaf. So unless Kaido and Big Mom are defeated simultaneously, but Big Mom is still well enough to continue her pursuit, I can't see my line of reasoning working out.
This is the thing, right? I think it's being split up into 2 anyway. So I feel like in Onigashima, we get all of the 1v1s, and that's where all the commander level guys are dealt with. And then it's just going to be everyone versus Kaido and Big Mom. A lot of the scabbards, at least the strongest ones, like Denjiro, Ashura Doji, Luffy, Zoro, Kid, Killer, Law. I mean, I feel like Marco, all of these people are going to be involved in the Kaido fight and the Big Mom fight. To me, I feel like... Go ahead.
Oh no, I meant to ask you, if you believe that Zoro is going to take on King, where do you see Marco being? Where do you see Marco's role being in this in Onigashima?
Okay.
Or is it just Marco's here to help us take on Kaido?
I think Marco is just going to play a supporting role, right? Because this is the thing with King, right? I feel like it would be a bit of a waste if Marco was to fight him instead of Zoro, because this is the thing with a character like King. Like, what is Marco's purpose in the narrative? Because he's not going to struggle in that fight. Is his entire purpose to just come and fight King? I don't, I don't know, man. Because this is a good opportunity for growth for Zoro, someone who needs to be like incredibly powerful by the end of the series. He needs to be pushed to his limit. I don't think Who's Who is doing that personally, bro. I think Zoro is already stronger than Who's Who.
A
Or
lot of a lot of the
if
community hype for Who's Who, and I will admit to being one of these people. It just comes from the fact that I like his design, and I'm hoping that Zoro finally gets just a pure sword fight
I think it's possible.
without any devil fruit abilities. That's
I
one of
feel
the
like I
reasons that
feel
I'm
like
rooting
King
for
is
Who's Who.
kind of that fight though, right? Because even though King has a devil fruit and he's probably going to be using it in the fight, he also does come across as just like a swordsman that can use fire.
Oh yeah, he
Like he
seemed.
might not like to have a devil fruit. I don't think you have to be entirely reliant on that devil fruit,
Oh yeah,
if that makes sense.
King seems like a close range fighter. He doesn't, as far as we've
Exactly.
seen, those flames. He hasn't thrown them. He hasn't shot them out in some crazy explosion. The only time we've seen King really do something in terms of combat, he flew up to Big Mom's ship and kicked it over the waterfall, and he held his sword up for Kaido to draw. Aside from that, we haven't really seen King really, be overly reliant on his devil fruit. So I can agree. I can agree with you on that. King is
Hmm.
most likely a close range fighter, and if he does use his devil fruit, it's gonna be in the same way that Jack has, or similar to it. He's just using
Yeah,
it
yeah,
for the
yeah.
physical capabilities.
Exactly. Or say he needs to get to somewhere, or he probably will fly in the fight at points, and that's probably gonna be because this is the thing, right? The reason why I feel like King is a good fight for Zoro is because Zoro's fights, they follow a pattern, right? It's always something he needs to overcome. So with Daz Bones, he needed to overcome steel. He needed to learn how to cut steel. With King, he's gonna have to learn how to cut fire. Like, and he's already shown an interest in wanting to cut fire. Back on Punk Hazard, he told Kinemon, like, I'm
I'm
a
in.
hang with
Yeah,
you. I want to learn how to cut fire. So there's that motivation
he's already
already.
shown interest in Kinemon's technique. He was like, wow, he cut fire. In my opinion, I really didn't see like why was that so interesting. All you need to do is just blow a big gust of wind and the flames will separate. But in One Piece, I
Mm.
guess it is some kind of like real technique or significance to that.
Yeah, there's probably something more to it because that's a very good point, bro. Like Zoro he be sending fucking massive
Flying,
he be
yeah, like
cutting a
big
mountain
gusts of
in half.
winds.
Like fire ain't shit. But yeah, that's a good point. I feel like they have to expand on that. It has to make sense. There's probably a technique to it, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving over from Onigashima matchups, because I feel like we've talked about the ones
Yeah.
that matter. We talked, even though like we didn't really go much into it because it was mostly sidebar. We know that
Yeah,
we agree that most of the matchups will probably be tag teams with it from our
exactly.
side on someone else. We differ on who's gonna 1v1 who and who's gonna build up to who, but that's what the discussion is about. It's disagreements. It's going against each other. It's challenging opinions, and that's why I like these conversations. I would like to hear other people's opinions.
Hmm.
If you don't like to hear other people's opinions, then what the fuck are you talking to people for?
Yeah, facts, bro. Like at the end of the day, with a series like One Piece, there's always gonna be difference of opinion, and that's a good thing. Like you get to see different interpretations and perspectives, and I like that.
Yeah. There was a. I've been trying to scroll through my Twitter for the longest time, but someone made a Twitter post. It was something that I like was really that I really vibed with, but I can't find it. When I do, I will circle back around to it. But yeah, they made a good point about something that I was talking to them about. Oh, it was about the potential of Yamato leaving and what could her or his possibility of staying on Wano serve for the rest of the story. But all
Uh,
right,
Yamato leaving where?
Yamato joining the crew. But
Oh,
that's
Yamato joined the crew.
yeah, but
Mm.
that'll be in the topic after this, which is the main meat of why I wanted you on here. I wanted to talk to
Yeah.
you, and that is, will Zoro kill Kaido, or will he deliver the final blow on Kaido? Who's going to kill
Yeah.
Kaido, and how will Wano end? Which we'll get to after that. Now, I've been, like I said before the stream, I've been in some of your streams where you talked about, the idea of Zoro killing Kaido or delivering the final blow. I know most of the points that you made, but I have never really heard it in a, somewhat a sort of PowerPoint presentation format.
Yeah.
Can you lay it out for me? How or why do you believe Zoro is going to kill Kaido?
Okay. So I'm gonna say this, right? So before I begin all of this,
hold on. Let me just clarify this, because I feel like a lot of people, I feel like this gets lost in the conversation. Because
I think I'm just about to clarify what you're about to clarify.
yeah, but I don't think that your belief in this is completely outlandish, because the points that I have heard make a lot of goddamn sense. Makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yeah.
I do believe Zoro's going to play a big part in taking out Kaido. Hell, I think that one of the biggest hits on Kaido is going to come from Zoro.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the point that I wanted to make. I do see the logic in it, and I do believe that Zoro is going to do something to assist in the fight in a major way. But please break it down for me in the Jesus Christ, 30 people in here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for pulling up, people.
Stream. But please, break it down for me, please.
Okay, so I'll say this, right. First, I fully appreciate how dramatically different it is to have the main antagonist of the arc firstly die, and secondly be defeated by the hands of somebody that isn't Luffy. That is something we've never seen in the series before, and me proposing this is so outlandish in a series like One Piece that I fully appreciate the skepticism. But just hear me out, right?
Look at when Zoro first got recruited. The main antagonist of that arc was Axan Morgan, and Luffy didn't beat him.
Yeah, people like that's a small one though, because he's not like a major one. But that's a good point. But even still, he was the main antagonist. And that was someone that wasn't Luffy. But still, right? So I want to say this. This theory is stacked, right? I'm not going to be able to tell you everything. It's impossible for me to lay out.
Whatever you can.
I'm going to tell you the main shit. Yeah, the main shit. Like, I made a 45-minute video on this last week, and even that barely scratched the surface, because I'm telling you there's evidence from Mythology to different parallels between arcs, from Thriller Bark to Wano. Parallels between Zoro and Ryuma, Zoro and Oden. Statements from Oda himself in magazines. An interpretation of Toki's prophecy that I came up with that I think makes a lot of sense. And then how this all ties back to Oda's favorite theme, inherited will, and how by having Zoro kill Kaido, it's going to be an occurrence of inherited will. So all of this comes together. So I'm going to kick it off with this, right? The first thing I have to make clear is, why does Kaido have to die? Because that's the biggest question, right? The biggest point is people are like, but bro, is Kaido even going to die? Why are you so certain that Kaido's going to die? Well, I understand that.
I feel like even I can answer that question. An emperor is too much of a threat to just KO and have the Marines arrest them like any other antagonist we've had previously. And we've already had the information. Kaido's been captured many times
18 times.
He's been captured many times before. There's no reason that if Kaido is just KO'd, that he shouldn't be able to just come back. And if there's Kaido, even if it isn't from, even if he doesn't die from Zoro, Luffy, Kid, or anybody on Wano right now, the Marines, especially under Akainu, they're not keeping Kaido alive and just throwing him in prison. He's too much of a threat to just throw in prison.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So you just answered that for me. So, and another thing that makes a lot of sense, you need to appreciate Kaido wants to die. So it's not like you're killing somebody it's not like it's gonna be evil, because Oda he's never gonna want to paint his main characters as evil. So take for example someone like Spandam. He would beg for mercy in his final moments. He would be like, please don't kill me, please. And that's something that it would take a lot of, you would have to be pretty heartless to kill someone if they are defenseless and begging for your mercy, even if they're evil as fuck, right? That's a pretty heartless thing to do. So that's why I feel like with Kaido, it makes more sense than any other antagonist we face because this man actually wants to die. By killing him, you're going to give him what he wants. So it's like you actually give him what he wants, and it would make this death a lot more appealing than others. And that would explain why Oda would be more comfortable with killing him when Oda usually struggles when it comes to killing off characters. Next, I feel like it's been foreshadowed on numerous instances that Kaido, I wouldn't say needs to be beheaded, but will be beheaded. So, something that if you reread the arc, so there's a few instances, right? So, I'm pretty sure Ashura Doji says this a couple times, Kinemon says this a couple times, and it's that the purpose, the entire aim of the Fire Festival, the raid, is to take the heads of Kaido and Orochi. Now, I understand taking the head of them doesn't necessarily mean
that's just the
beheading them.
general
A figure
term
of
of
speech.
we
Yeah,
need to take them out.
yeah, it definitely is. But there are also other statements that it's like we're going. It's like take his head, Kaido taking his head. It's been reiterated so many times. When in other arcs, it's like I'm gonna beat them up or I'm gonna defeat them. Like with Dofi, every single time Luffy said I'm gonna beat them up. But even in this time, Luffy said I'm gonna Luffy said I'm gonna defeat him. Kid said I'm gonna take his head. It just keeps being emphasized to a point where it's a bit unordinary. That's one thing I'll say. Not a massive point, but that's just something.
Yeah,
Right?
a point is a point. Whether no matter how strong it is to serve your purpose, a point is a point.
Thank you for giving me the time to talk, by the way. Next, right, the magazine statements. Okay, you've probably seen these 100 times. So Oda came out with a magazine, and magazine volume 5, and it basically says, I'm gonna quote this. It says, the opponent that Zoro defeated in Thriller Bark, Ryuma, is said by legend to have cut down a Western dragon with his sword, a sword that is now in Zoro's hands. In Punk Hazard, Zoro already killed a Western dragon as well. Now, Zoro and the Straw Hats are in Ryuma's homeland, Wano, to take down one of the Yonko, Kaido. Now that Zoro has obtained Shusui from Ryuma after their duel, the possibility might arise that a new legend of slaying an Eastern dragon might be born. So that's a lot to take in, but I'll simplify it a bit, right? So Ryuma slayed a Western dragon in the past, and Zoro has already imitated this feat. He done it on Punk Hazard. That's what a lot of people bring up. Ryuma killed a dragon. Zoro already imitated this feat. The reason why we still use the Ryuma parallels is because the difference between these two feats is that Ryuma's feat was legendary. People saw this. People remember him for it, and they glorify him for this. Whereas with Zoro, he just killed a dragon that nobody saw. Like he just killed a dragon. It was nothing special. You know what I'm saying? And the magazine statement literally says, the possibility might arise that a new legend of slaying an Eastern dragon might be born. And Kaido is an Eastern dragon, the only one we know of in One Piece. So that's just it's sus. I understand people don't like taking magazine statements and outside of canon information, and I understand that. But that's one of the biggest things for me, right? The fact that this exists is just, it's so sus. Like you look at this and you think, well, what does this mean? Was this released for absolutely no reason? I mean, I wouldn't say it is. So it's just weird, regardless, this statement. But moving on from that is mainly the fact that Kaido needs to die, right? In my opinion. And I don't see how he can be killed if it isn't... I don't see Luffy killing him. I don't think Luffy's going to kill him.
We've already had the statement directly from Oda saying that Luffy doesn't necessarily kill people. He when he defeats
crushes
them,
their dreams.
Yeah, he destroys their will to fight and continue.
Exactly. So Luffy doesn't kill, and I think Kaido needs to die. But then again, I don't see Kid killing him. I think people who say Kid is killing Kaido, I don't understand that at all. Because I understand he has the motivation, but at the end of the day, this needs to be Luffy's W. Luffy needs to leave this arc having defeated a Yonko. Kid killing Kaido takes too much away from Luffy. Whereas with Zoro killing Kaido, it actually adds to Luffy. If you look back at Sabaody, when Aruj sees Zoro, what does he say? He says, this guy is only the vice captain, and that says a lot about his captain, right? So by him landing the final blow and being glorified for that, and taking that clout for that feat of slaying a dragon, slaying Kaido, that adds to the overall perception of Luffy as his captain, because this isn't him doing it, it's his vice captain having it. So firstly, that's why I don't think Kid is killing Kaido, because Kid, although has the motivation, I just don't see him killing him. One, because it takes away from Luffy, and two, because I see Wano as a country that needs to be saved. I don't see Kid as a savior. This is the kind of arc where like the people need to be saved by a hero. Kid isn't a hero. He's closer to a villain than a hero, from what we know of him. He kills innocent people. I understand they laugh at his dreams, but he's still a murderer for that. And it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying? So the whole savior of Wano thing, I don't think Kid is killing Kaido. Then we move on to the parallels, right? The Zoro Rumi ones, I'm not gonna bother going over those, because even though that's like one of the biggest things, I'm sure you guys have heard all of this. Ryuma looks exactly like Zoro. All of that jazz. There's all of that.
Real quick before we move on to that, and I lose my train of thought on it.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I don't think that what you're saying is impossible. And I do agree with you on a lot of aspects. If Zoro kills Kaido, because I don't agree with the people who say Zoro killing Kaido takes too much away from Luffy. Zoro giving the final blow takes too much away from Luffy. I agree with you. If the vice captain did this to an emperor, what does that say about the person that he's actively following, that he chooses to follow? The person above him has got to be a goddamn monster. It just has to be. But
exactly
where I don't agree with you on that point is Kid killing Kaido takes too much away from Luffy. That's where I don't agree. The point that you made where Kid isn't a savior, two pirates fighting, it doesn't necessarily make doesn't necessarily make Kid the savior of Wano. He's just trying to take out an emperor of the sea, which in this aspect, in this context, Kaido is just here to conquer a land, and Kid just wants to kill Kaido. He's not there to save a country. He's not there to be the hero or anything. He's just there to take out an enemy. And like Oda has mentioned this before, that the other supernovas he never really had plans for. The only one that he had long-term goals for and long-term plans excuse me, was Kid. He has long-term plans for Kid. And the only reason that Law himself has been in the story for as long as he has is because Oda did not anticipate the popularity that Law was going to get. He did not realize that people liked Law as much as this. Mm-hmm. And that's really the only point that I disagree with you on. And if Kid is the one to, I'm not gonna say he's the main force in bringing down Kaido. Like, while everybody's
he's definitely one of them, though.
Yeah. I don't think that there's going to be one singular like head of the pack that everybody. I don't think this is gonna be like Goku versus Broly, where everybody's teaming up against them. And I'm talking about the original Broly movie, not the super one.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I don't think it's gonna be like that, where everybody's playing support to Goku. I think that everybody who is actively going at Kaido is going to play an equal part until it whittles down to a smaller group. And that's when I think that it's going to rotate. At some points, Zoro is going to be the one who's charging in while everybody else is trying to give him an opening. At other points, it's going to be Luffy, and at other points, it may even be Kid. I have a hype speculation like that. I'm only imagining based off of hype. Law's Gamma Knife, I think he's going to turn that into a Gamma Sword. Yeah. He's pulling out Gamma Sword. Gamma Sword.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it. Just overcharge the fuck out of it and just jam it into Kaido. Hell, call it Gamma Spike if you want. Doesn't matter. Just a massive Gamma Knife. It may be. I think it's going to play out some way like that. And Zoro being the last person to get that final blow, I can absolutely agree with. The only thing that I think the way that I think it's going to play out is that while Kaido is down and defeated but still alive, Kid is, like you said, Luffy doesn't kill. Zoro, we know he kills people. he's killed people. In the anime,
Yeah.
they kind of blow past it, but in the manga, when he first met Helmeppo, he didn't get tied up for what, disrespecting Helmeppo. No, he killed his pet wolf. He killed the pet wolf, and even before that, they talk about Zoro's legend in the East Blue from killing people and turning in their bounties. But
Yeah.
the way I see it playing out, if Zoro, Luffy, whoever it is, gives that final blow to Kaido, and Kaido goes down, he's down and defeated. He is absolutely KO'd, but he is still alive enough to open his eyes and talk. And Kid approaches him, and he is the one to kill Kaido, because, like you said, Kid is just that ruthless. He's a murderer. He has the motivation, but he's not a hero. He's not doing it to save the people, because if he was, beating Kaido and just expelling him from Wano would be enough. No, Kid is out for revenge. That is the only point that I disagree with you on when it comes to the whole Kaido killing thing, because we already have a lot of hype surrounding the Straw Hat Pirates. A lot of hype. They went into an Emperor's territory, they fucked shit up, and they got out, and they got out to the point where even the news is giving them the W. Whereas Arouge, people know he went in, he got defeated, and he ran. People know about that, and they even say the only other person to do something similar to Luffy was Kid, and the world knows that he went in, did what he had to do, and he left. He didn't run, he left. So personally, I think it makes more sense story-wise to elevate the other supernova that Oda has plans for long term, rather than give the Straw Hats a lot more hype. And
see, like, this is my thing with Kid, right? With Kid being the killer, right? We know this about Kid. We know that his role in the series so far has been the role of a foil to Luffy, in the sense that where Luffy takes W's, Kid is a lot more unfortunate and unlucky, and he's very unlucky. He's just a very unlucky guy. So his role in the series so far, it's been interesting, because I feel like he serves as a character that highlights Luffy's aspects as a character. Because you look at Kid, right? Kid and Luffy have a lot of similarities, but they have very different conclusions to those. Like, they both tried to do alliances. Luffy's alliance is a massive success so far. Kid's, that shit went...
With the exception of Capone.
The Capone one, it's not like they betrayed him.
Oh yeah, that
didn't get betrayed.
That just dissolved.
Yeah.
My bad.
That just dissolved. Exactly. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. That's a good point though. Like, the Capone one, I would actually use that though. I would say that's an alliance where there was no betrayal, because everybody in that alliance they were working for a common goal. There was no self-serving interest and shit.
That was an alliance of circumstance where Luffy was just in the right place at the right time for Capone. Whereas the Law Alliance, yeah, he was in the right place at the right time, but Law continued even after they defeated Doflamingo, which was his ultimate goal. Yeah.
So the thing with Kid, exactly. Like, the role of a foil is that of a character that exists to highlight an aspect of another character. So why wasn't Luffy's bounty the highest in Sabaody? Because even though they were probably, like, relative in terms of overall feats, or maybe Luffy probably even done even more crazier shit than Kid, but Kid was killing civilians and not saving them like Luffy was. Why did Luffy have to train before entering the New World? Because Kid didn't train, and we know what happened to him. He got his shit beat.
Yeah,
multiple times.
He lost an arm. He got his experience through hockey and, like, just combat experience through actual combat experience. Whereas Luffy, he just trained under somebody who was massively strong.
Exactly. So it's like a Kid is like this what if character. So he tells us if Luffy did things differently, what would have happened, and that's what Kid is. And that's why I kind of feel like Kid is eternally doomed, if that makes sense. I feel like Kid is an unlucky character to the point where I don't think he's going to get W's. I think he's going to be incredibly powerful. Like, end of series, I think he's going to be, like, you can say, Yonko level. I feel like he's like the Shiki of the current generation, where he is comparable to Luffy in power, but he just doesn't have the crew. He just doesn't have the feats and accomplishments, and he's not as great of a pirate as him.
If I was to make a comparison to another series, I'd say Kid is Sasuke to Luffy's Naruto. Whereas Sasuke did take some W's, but they were minor, they were personal. Whereas Naruto was the one who
Exactly.
was saving everything.
Yeah,
And
and Ironheart gave the biggest point just now. In real life, the the pirate that Kid is based over, right? Captain William Kidd is known as the unluckiest pirate in history.
oh, Fiji,
To me,
Fiji, Fiji, you're talking to the right person. I know who Captain Kidd is. That's why when people tell me that when it comes to new crew member discussions, archaeologists weren't on real pirate ships. Correction, they were. Pirates kidnapped them. That's how Captain not Kid fuck Benjamin Hornigold got most of his fortune. He raided a lot of tombs. He kidnapped scholars to translate hieroglyphs in Aztec writing. But real quick, Gon, Gon said that Enma is below Shusui. Zoro took a downgrade in swords. Look at it
I
as
agree.
I don't. I look at it as it's somewhat of an equal trade. Look at it in terms
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
look
Agreed,
at it in
agreed.
terms of an RPG where your weapons have different stats. Shisui had more raw attack power, whereas excuse me, because it was heavier, it allowed for flying slashes to go further. It was a black blade. It was strong. It was physically stronger. Whereas Enma has more of a magic stat if you were to look at it in Dark Souls. Like Enma's an arcane sword. Shisui is more of just raw damage. But I apologize. I apologize
And I
about that.
disagree.
I apologize about that,
No
Fiji. Go
worries.
ahead.
No
Please
worries, no worries.
finish.
If I was to add on to like your point that you just made, the reason why Zoro is stronger now than he was before Enma, even though the sword is like the same level, is because he trained with it for a week, and Enma is a tool for training. Because what it does is it forces him to improve his armament haki because he
Exactly.
needs to be more competent in order to handle the blade. So even though Enma, as a weapon, isn't better than Shusui, it's and I wouldn't call it a power up because it's not an instant power up. But what it is it's like it allows it's a tool for training.
Yeah.
It gets him stronger if that makes sense overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand when people call it a power up. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Going back to what I was just saying about like an RPG mechanic, Enma is a stronger sword right now. Like once you pick it up, your attack values go up instantly. Whereas Enma, no, I said Enma. Shusui is it builds the attack power instantly. You get stronger attacks right as soon as you get the sword. Whereas Enma, you literally have to use the sword over time to level up. And once you get enough training with it, that's when your attack power will be a lot. That's when your attack will be a lot higher than it is with Shusui. Enma forces you to level up. It basically just gives you more XP.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best way that I can put it. It gives you more XP the more you use it, and it makes it a stronger sword.
So yeah, we might as well go back to Zoro and Kaido, right?
Yeah.
So the next thing I want to talk about is the parallels, right? So and a lot of people didn't pick up on this, but Zoro and Oden, they have like a very, very, very interesting parallels, right? So Oden met Toki when she was 26 years old. Zoro met Hiyori when she is 26 years old. The way in which Oden meets Toki and Zoro meets Hiyori is very, very similar. They save her. They both save them from like a near-death experience, and then they collapse straight after that. And after they collapse and faint, Toki nursed Oden back to health, and Hiyori nursed Zoro back to health. Then there's another parallel, and that is later on. We have that scene in the Flower Capital for Zoro, and then we have it in the Flower Capital for Oden, where Hiyori is crying. Like Hiyori and Toki both were crying in the arms of Oden and Zoro, right? Same exact scene.
Fiji, please don't
And they
tell me
were
that you
crying
shipped
because of
those two.
Orochi. They were both crying because of Orochi, right? And then they both continued to go on and attack Orochi, and it ended. It's literally like the exact same thing happened, bro. They both went up, attacked Orochi, and they were blocked by somebody else. So Oden was blocked by Kurozumi Semimaru with the Bari no Mi, and Zoro was blocked by Kyoshiro. And it's like they attempted to kill the person. It's just if I was to put it side by side, Like I have this massive thing. Like let me drop it in the Discord for you real quick, right?
Yeah.
It's just pretty insane when you look at it.
Put
The
it
amount
in
of
one with no
parallels.
mics.
Bet it will take me a minute to find,
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah, yeah,
That's not
dude.
even important. But it's like the parallels they have are pretty wild, right? There's like a lot of parallels. This collage, okay, here I found it. Right, here we go. I'm gonna drop it in the Discord for you.
All right.
So where shall I put it in? Room with no mics.
Yeah.
There we go. So this collage just highlights all of the like parallels between them. There are so many when you look at it. So many different parallels between Zoro and Oden, and that's because I feel like Zoro, by inheriting Enma, inherits his will to go on and save Wano. Basically, he's been set up to surpass Oden. Well, not in this arc, I think, but I feel like he's gonna accomplish what Oden was unable to do with Enma, and also surpass Oden by accomplishing what Oden was unable to do in like defeating Kaido. When I say defeat, I'm not talking about 101, but like landing the final. Because to me, the final blow isn't about power. I don't give a fuck about this from a power scaling standpoint. I'm talking about the narrative weight behind it. Because there's an importance behind that final blow. That final blow matters in the overall scheme of things because it symbolizes a lot. And by landing the final blow and slaying Kaido, that's what creates the legend of slaying an Eastern Dragon, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason why Orochi doesn't, like, there's so much, bro. The reason why I'm like all over the place is because I've got like a 40 page docs in front of me,
Bro.
with all the evidence we've gathered, and it's like so much to go through.
Yo,
I don't know if I've told you about them.
Yo,
You go ahead.
I already linked it in the chat earlier, but if you haven't, go to Fiji's channel, go to his page, go to his channel, watch his video on Zoro killing Kaido, or just go back to some of the old streams if he still has them up. Watch it, because I guarantee you 100% this topic comes up. 100% guarantee this topic comes up.
It's not as wild as it sounds at surface level, bro.
Yeah,
There's so much going into it. Like, I understand you disagreeing perfectly, like, but it's like some people act like it's impossible. But yeah,
it's not 100% impossible. As a matter of fact, I'd give it 80. I give it an 80. I give it 80%. I give it more than half, because like you said, the story is centered around the Straw Hats. And while I do believe that kid needs a lot more hype to have him, you know, be built up to meet the expectations that Oda is probably setting kid up for, the story is still centered around the Straw Hats. Luffy may be the biggest player in the fight, but Zoro may be the one to deliver the final blow, because like you said, it's a parallel for Oden. I think you said in one of your other streams, the parallels, the inherited wills of each sword. Zoro got Wado Ichimonji.
so Shusui,
Zoro
yeah,
got
why don't
Wado
you mind
Ichimonji. The
Yeah.
inherited will from Kuina. She wanted to be the world's strongest swordsman, and that's Zoro's main dream. He got Shusui, the sword to cut off a dragon's head, and he did that in Punk Hazard. And now he swapped that out for Enma. The only issue that I have with that is that the inherited will for Enma isn't to defeat Kaido. It would be to open up the borders of Wano. But in order to do that, you kind of have to defeat Kaido. So
it's a confusing one. It's definitely it's a bit more complicated.
But that is one of the points that I do agree with you on. I do like the idea of an inherited will for each sword. The only thing about that is, what about his third sword? Because one of his swords...
Sandai Kitetsu?
I think he's swapping that out for... Well, we're going to talk about that at the end of... towards the end of this discussion on how we think Wano is going to end. All right, because I think the swapping of the swords is going to play a part in it, because like I said, I do think that Momonosuke is going to join the crew at some point. I think at the end of
I hope so, man. I want that. I need that.
Oh damn! I know you was an advocate for it. Hey, let's go.
Let's go. I need that because I want an apprentice on the ship, and I feel like that little scene with like Zoro and Momo training before the war, getting prepared. It's a cool dynamic. I'd like to see that on the ship, having like a kid around. Like I like that entire vibe. I'm not gonna lie. It's
And
either I think not Toko, Tama works as well, but Momonosuke is a better one because he's already been fleshed out and we know him as a character. So and he's been around for so long. So
my
I would
issue,
like it, man.
the issue that I have with Tama, and I know we're like kind of transitioning over into a later topic, but the issue that I have with Tama joining is that the promise Ace made to her, like people tell me Luffy is going to be the one to fulfill the promise that Ace made to Tama. The promise that Ace made to Tama was to take her out to sea when she became a shinobi.
Exactly.
And yes, that could be her dream on the ship because technically Nami is using quote unquote ninjutsu, but Nami in the older box that she got is a novice shinobi. I even said that in my next crew member video, which is super poorly put together. But if you want to, go ahead and watch it. It's on my channel. Not right now because we're streaming. Not right now because we're streaming. Watch it after the stream.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah, and he told her, "I'll take you out to sea when you become a bewitching Kanoji." She's not a ninja yet. She could learn it under Nami, but she wouldn't be getting the proper teachings, leaving the only good teachers for her on Wano.
In Wano.
For Momonosuke joining the crew, he wants to be the shogun. Yes, when Kaido and them go down, sure, he could take up the position while everybody else, runs the country while he just sits on the throne. But how does that develop Momonosuke? Joining the crew, he'd learn swordsman from literally the future world's strongest swordsman. No better teacher. Literally no better teacher. He'd learned the trade of his family from Robin, the only other person in the world that we know of right now that can naturally read the poneglyphs. He learned leadership from Luffy. He'd learned bravery, and as far as weird as this sounds, he'd learned bravery from Usopp.
Yeah, he would.
he learned medicine from Chopper, and with him wanting to open up the borders of the country to let people in and out as they see fit, he'd learn navigation from Nami. He'd learn and everything else that he'd get from the rest of the crew. And a lot of people argue me saying that the Straw Hats would have to babysit him for most of the time. He wouldn't be able to defend himself. Let me ask you this: in every arc since Skypiea, because that's the last arc that Robin got a legit 1v1. How many of the Straw Hats have actually been fighting? Not many of them. So that you could place Momonosuke with a lot of characters on the ship, and he'd be absolutely fine. Like that's one of the biggest things that people come at me for it. But Momonosuke learning, like you said, the dynamic of Momonosuke joining an apprentice on the ship would absolutely be amazing. I don't mean to jump ahead to new crew members, but we are still on Zoro killing Kaido and how Wano.
Oh yeah. I need to cover that a bit better because so far it's been a bit hazy because it's so many points that are just right in front of me right now. So I'm gonna focus on the main one, right? A lot of people, I feel like one thing people need to appreciate is that Zoro actually, this is the first time in the entire story where he is genuinely motivated in a battle, right? So the consensus when it comes to Zoro's role in this arc is that his narrative lies with Orochi, and his motivations are to get revenge specifically on Orochi for killing Yasui. And I can definitely see why fans would think that and would think that Zoro wants to kill Orochi.
And that was my point whenever I spoke to you. That was the main thing, but Orochi has been taken out now.
Even if he's alive right now, Orochi doesn't really matter. I don't see Zoro saying, "Oh, you guys need to defeat this guy to free Wano, but I have a personal vendetta that I want to focus on, so I'm gonna go deal with that." It just doesn't make sense to me, right?
Yeah, in the grand scope of everything, especially with Kaido, it really doesn't make sense. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. And I see why you would explain that, but in that very same page that set up Zoro's motivation, Hiyori's motivation for revenge is also set up. And Hiyori slaying Orochi is a very compelling narrative as well. Regardless of Orochi, though, I don't think that even matters. For me, there's a reason why Zoro was given Enma, the sword that is specifically hyped up as being the sword to give Kaido his only scar. I know Amino Habakiri technically cut it as well, but Enma is specifically hyped up for that, right? There's a reason why Zoro was given that, and he wasn't given the Snake Slayer. If his narrative lied with Orochi, why wouldn't he be given Ame no Habakiri, the sword famed to have killed Yamato no Orochi in Japanese mythology? I feel like that's one clear indication that his narrative isn't with Orochi. Secondly, the Zoro vs. Orochi narrative is completely destroyed with a single panel from the Oden flashback. Okay, so after his trust is betrayed by Orochi, after he spent 5 years dancing, right? Oden chooses to go after Kaido. Kaido, not Orochi, he chooses to go after Kaido. Oda makes it vehemently clear that in order to take your revenge upon Orochi, if you want to take vengeance on Orochi, you have to defeat Kaido. You have to. Like, it literally says on the panel, their foe was Kaido. They paid heed to no other. Go to chapter 969. It's the final spread. All the scabbards are lined up. Their foe was Kaido. They paid heed to no other. Because at the end of the day, even though Orochi is their true enemy, the oppressor is Kaido because he is the tool or the weapon that is guaranteed to oppress Wano. Without Kaido, Orochi is nothing. And that's why you have to go for Kaido in order to deal with Orochi.
Yeah, if you take out Kaido, Orochi literally has no leg to stand on. Like there's
Exactly.
nothing that he can do to prevent the samurai from uprising.
Exactly. And I feel like another thing that's really cool to mention is that in Skypiea, Zoro has a fight with Ohm, right? He's in a fight with Ohm. You remember Audio of
Yeah,
Iron, Ohm. And he basically, Ohm says to him, there's a cool little dialogue they have. And Ohm is like to him, have you come for revenge? And he's like to him, revenge. He said, I don't like to fight with a motive. That's something Zoro we know him for, right? In the past, throughout the entire series, outside of Zoro versus Mihawk, every single fight that Zoro has been in, he didn't actually have a motive. He just had to defeat this guy and get past him, right? Like every single time, there's no actual motive. He doesn't truly want to defeat this guy or has like a personal vendetta. But for the first time ever, Zoro literally says that I want to, I wanna avenge Yasui. This is his motive in going into this arc. He is fighting for revenge for the first time, and he has a sense of animosity towards Kaido because, like, remember chapter 981 recently? Zoro specifically mentions that he is conserving his strength and energy for the fight against Kaido. Why didn't he say Orochi? Because he's carrying Luffy and he said, we need to stay fresh for the fight against Kaido. Why didn't he say Orochi?
yeah, that is a good point. They are on Onigashima. They're not here to actually take out to take out Orochi, because you take out Kaido, Orochi falls.
Mm-hmm.
The scabbards can take out Orochi. The scabbards can deal with Orochi. Our priority should be Kaido.
Exactly. And then there's the entire whole lineage factor where it's like 99% certain that Zoro is from Wano, and that adds to it overall. So this is like another little cool sense of foreshadowing, but it's kind of hard to explain. So Shimotsuki stands for Frost Moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if Zoro is a Shimotsuki, then it would add to the thematic weight of Zoro having the final blow, because right now it is a moonlit night and it's snowing. So it's a frost moon. And having a Shimotsuki be the one to it's that's like a little point that I've made.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah, that's one thing that I'm really adamant about. I hope that it doesn't happen. Is that Zoro is from Wano? I think that him
yeah,
being from
I know why you said it. Yeah.
him being from the village, him being from a village established by Wano descendants, him knowing what was his name, Gozboro?
Kozoburo, yeah.
Yeah, Gozboro. He even knew him. I feel like that's enough, especially him being trained by the Shimotsuki. Not in the whole theme of One Piece, blood ties don't really matter.
Yeah,
I
they don't.
Yeah, I would like it if Zoro has no ties to Wano, has no lineage from Wano, even if his ancestors from Wano were just farmers. I still feel like that would give Zoro an unfair advantage when it comes to his dream of the world's strongest swordsman. As a matter of fact, I feel like if he wasn't, it'd be even more impactful, because an
I
actual
see that.
an
I see
actual
that.
descendant from the Shimotsuki, Kuina, wanted to be the world's strongest swordsman, and she basically believed that she couldn't. and Zoro using her sword to actually accomplish that dream. I feel like it's a lot more impactful.
I can see that. I feel like there's just so much pointing towards it that it's gonna kind of just happen. It's like a matter of time at this
Yeah.
point. There's so much pointing towards Zoro being from Wano right now, like so much.
Boy Juice, you're saying exactly what I said. He wanted to take out Orochi since the Flower Capital. But at this point, Zoro has most likely made the connection that if you take out Orochi, if you take out Orochi, Kaido is still here, and even Kaido has no interest in Orochi at this point. He cut off his head. Kaido is essentially in charge. He's essentially taken over Wano at this point. Orochi has nothing. If Orochi, even if Orochi isn't dead, if he comes back, he poses no threat anymore. Yo, I'm D King. What's up, man? But
What's
yeah,
happening, man? I'm the king in the chat. Love to see
yeah,
it.
bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, Orochi absolutely he serves no threat. And even if he does, he has no reason to stand against the Straw Hats or the Samurai Alliance at this point, because if he still fights to take them out, to take out Luffy and all of them, he's pretty much guaranteeing his own defeat. That's just the way it is. He got rid of wait, hold up. What the hell is this? Oh shit. Lothar, hey Lothar, he gave $15. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Lothar always coming in clutch, man. I appreciate
Lothar's
it,
big
Lothar,
girl,
man. Word, he's everywhere. But yeah,
Lothar the big girl, man.
Orochi serves he poses no threat. If he stands against the Straw Hats, he's essentially telling Kaido, I'm still your bitch and you can have everything. If he stands with Luffy and them, then pretty much he can take out like he has a better chance of taking out Kaido. So, but even still, he did kill what the hell was his name? Goddamn, Hedgehog. Fuck, you just said it. Damn.
Yasui?
Yeah, Yasui. Damn. Why did I just blank on that? He still did kill Yasui, and Zoro does have an issue with that. But Zoro isn't just fighting for Yasui. He's fighting to free Wano, and the person oppressing Wano at this point is Kaido.
Like I'm gonna show you something else, right? This is something really interesting to me, right? I'm gonna send it in the Discord. In every single arc so far, I think I've mentioned this point to you. In every single arc so far, there's always been a damsel in distress, right? There's always been a female. This time it's a bit more confusing, but there's always been a damsel in distress, right? Vivi, Rebecca, Shirahoshi, somebody that needed help from Luffy, and Luffy saved them by defeating the main antagonist. This time, the female damsel in distress, she met Zoro instead of Luffy, and she developed a dynamic with Zoro. Hiyori wants Zoro to save this country. She said it to himself. She asked Kawamatsu and Zoro, like towards the end of Act 2, please save this country. So it's not just the Yasui stuff. He has developed a relationship with Hiyori, and that is who he's fighting for. And that whole damsel in distress thing, that's like the formula. That's like the One Piece formula. They meet somebody, they need help. Obviously, Momonosuke is also the damsel in distress. Do not get me wrong. That is something that's prevalent too. And that's Luffy's plotline, Momonosuke. So I think Luffy is also playing the number one role alongside Zoro. I think they're both playing the most major role against Kaido. It's between them two.
I mean, even though I know you said it's like not that big in terms of like the scope of it. Going back to Axeham Morgan, I guess you could say the damsel in distress at that time was Rika.
The little girl, yeah,
Rika. She was being terrorized by Helmeppo. Zoro came to the rescue. Zoro's the one who protected her, and at the end of it, Zoro's the one who defeated Morgan.
Yeah. Like this is another really, really cool one we found. So in the latest, like last week, 984, not 985. I'm going to drop this in the chat as well. No, 983, not 985. I'm dropping this all in Discord for you. On the right side, when we first saw Enma, it says, Enma that splits the earth to the bottom of hell. Right? And then we meet Kaido and it says, the mood is so heavy whenever he shows up. It's like that stage is a gate to hell. That's tying Enma to Kaido, like from like a symbolic, from like a symbolism standpoint.
Zoro cutting open
That's
the gates of hell.
that's an interesting one, right?
It is.
Uh, this is another like crazy one because at this point, like a lot of the evidence we've gathered is just interesting shit, and this one is from the chapter 926, I think it is, and it's basically a cover page for for the chapter, and there's some text there, and that text says, "Two pirates kill the evil spirits." So that's another really interesting one, and that paints Luffy and Zoro as the main heroes of this arc, as they're both gonna have like a massive role in saving Wano, and Kaido's in the back, interestingly enough. And we know Luffy doesn't kill. Like if he does kill, he might kill in this
It's
arc,
not.
but
It's not. It's not
overall,
completely. He's not directly killing people because people. A
yeah,
lot of people will point out. Look at when he was in his lobby. He punched people off the bridge into the boiling blood or lava or whatever, and those people are
yeah,
definitely
exactly,
dead. Zoro
exactly. It's
doesn't.
different, and
Luffy doesn't
Zo-
directly kill people.
there's no explicit killing. Like if Oda was asked, has Luffy ever killed anyone, he wouldn't answer it. You know what I'm saying? But with Zoro, he has on screen said he has.
Yeah,
In the manga,
absolutely.
it says that he has killed Mr. Seven. He killed 100 people in Whiskey Peak. Like, of course, some of them survived, but overall, the impression there is that he slayed 100 people in Whiskey Peak. That's what Mr. One says later on. That's what we know from the story. Another point, he already says to Zoro, if this is not hell, then what is it? And what's he gonna do? He's gonna use Enma, the sword that splits the earth to the bottom of hell, to like free one. And how else do you do that? How do you split the earth to the bottom of hell if Wano is hell? By like defeating the main oppressor of Wano. I don't know. There's so many little things pointing towards it that when you put it all together, it's so hard to overlook. Like I'm sure you've heard of the dragon and tiger mythology, right?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
So,
It's
I
impossible to look up a yin yang symbol or anything
exactly,
martial
yeah,
arts related without seeing the tiger versus the dragon.
yeah. The tiger versus the dragon, right? This is just insane to me because it's this is a very iconic theme in Eastern mythology, one that Oda is definitely aware of, and one that Oda has implemented into One Piece in the past. So he's implemented it into two cover pages, right? I'll love this. So it's one cover page with Marineford styled and one Japanese style cover page, right? So we know Oda is aware of the tiger and dragon mythology, right? This is probably the most suspect thing I've ever seen, right? Uh,
Oh yeah,
so
I remember. I remember this one. I remember
yeah,
you making this point.
yeah, this is like one of the most suspect things I've ever seen. So in the anime, they basically depict a tiger that fights Zoro. They put a scar on his eye, a tiger, and they
Yeah,
put a sword in his mouth. To me, this is just so suspect. Why would they do this if they weren't trying to paint Zoro as a tiger? They're trying to make a comparison between Tiger and Zoro here. Like I know Toei not canon. I agree. I agree that anime isn't canon. This is an anime filler scene. But just the fact that Toei, who know the end of Wano, are doing this, it's very very questionable. Very questionable. The fact they're doing this, it's like just so weird to me. Like, what was the point in doing that if it's not to paint Zoro as a tiger? Like it's literally a tiger that is Zoro, and it's just that's to me one of the most shocking ones we found. There's even more. There's cover pages that depict Zoro as a tiger. There's one chapter 651, I think it is. Um, there's that. There's so many of them, bro, and it's just it adds to the overall mythology of it. And then the craziest thing to
oh
me,
yeah, the
right,
color spread of the straw hats being depicted as animals.
as animals.
Oda even put it
Yep,
in an SBS, giving everybody official animals.
yep. And then
Zoro is without a doubt a tiger.
yep. And then you go on to like look at, so that adds to the tiger versus dragon thing, right? And then when you add that to this, the Chinese zodiac, I'm gonna send this to you 1 second. There's the 12 different hours: the hour of the rat, the hour of the ox, the hour of the bull, all of that, right? And this is crazy to me.
Kurohige. There are multiple. There are multiple. What's names that? Excuse me. There are multiple there are multiple depictions of the Straw Hats as different animals. Zoro
Yeah.
is a shark. There is one of Zoro a shark, but for the most part,
And
he's always been depicted as a
it's a
tiger.
tiger, yeah. It's both. I do attest to that. But
Yeah.
anyways, in Wano so far, Oda has already implemented the Chinese zodiac. So we've seen people in Wano use the terms hour of the rat, hour of the bull. They've used this to refer to certain times of the day. All right. In Chinese mythology, the Chinese zodiac, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. is the hour of the tiger, right? And what time did Toki prophesize the war to like the fire festival to reach its peak, basically?
Lady Toki,
She
I fled
said,
here from the past. From the past, Odin. I always thought that if I jumped into okay, you are the moon, unaware of the dawn.
"May your purpose be fulfilled, and cast 9 shadows in the night woven of 20 years, and you shall know the brilliance of the dawn." Dawn ties into the hour of the tiger.
4 to
It's like
5 a.m. Yeah.
it ties up so beautifully, and it's just set up so I don't know, man. It's too much for me to overlook at this point. Like, you know me, I'm not 100% on Zoro killing Kaido. I'm
Yeah.
like 90. I'm like 90. Like, there's no way you can be 100% on anything when it comes to One Piece. It's One Piece. It's like, but I will fight for this theory because for some reason it's so absurd to people, and I don't see why. Because at the end of the day, I'm not saying he's beating him in a 1v1. I'm saying he's landing the final killing blow because of the narrative significance behind that blow.
Yeah,
If you
and
give
that's
that
why.
to Kid, what's the point? If like we know Luffy isn't gonna get it, and we know Luffy. I just feel like just Kid killing Kaido just it just doesn't make sense to me for a number of reasons, and I have to address that in its own video or something because that's something I'd have to research a little on too because it's a really like a big topic. Kid's role in this arc, but overall, man, it's like yeah, that's the sword specifically hyped up to kill Kaido. On the chapter that it was introduced in, it says in the bottom right corner of the chapter, it says inherited will, tying Zoro to Oden. Enma is a form of inherited will. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I can definitely see the points that you're making, and like I said, I don't think that it is impossible. Like I said, I just think that narratively it makes more sense to build up Kid rather than to give the Straw Hats more hype, especially if it's going the mega hype route of Zoro killing Kaido, and then just by that act alone, it's infinitely boosting Luffy even higher because it's his vice
Yeah,
captain that did it. But we are
yeah.
going, Fiji. We planned on this being like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. It
We
literally
already on
just hit
2 hours.
2 hours, bro. So
We've
we're
been going
gonna.
crazy.
So yeah, bro. When you said that you can talk this topic, I absolutely believed you. But Jesus Christ, we actually
I
talked this
haven't
topic.
I haven't scratched the surface, but there's so much more. There's so much more to talk about. But yeah, man, nah, I appreciate you letting me like have a platform to talk about this one, man. Because
bro, if any goddamn time, any break, because I want to start doing these discussions every time we have a break, so my channel doesn't remain stagnant. We talked about it before. I'm trying to keep my channel going, and I've been neglecting it seriously, and I feel like I should have been doing more, especially over the quarantine. Like you were doing the quarantine streams, the just open discussions.
yeah, yeah,
Should have
yeah.
been doing that. I have scripts for videos that I have that I've typed up. I have all the assets. I have some videos that are absolutely done. I just don't like the way that it came out. Like I have a video called "What If Ace Survived." I have it completely done. It's completely done. I had it uploaded at one point and scheduled to upload. I took it down because I didn't like how I sounded in the video. But
Man.
but yeah, people came at me in my chat for that shit too. Like imagine having content and not releasing it. Yeah, I get it. I'm fucking stupid. All right, I will release it. I will
I
release it.
feel it.
I will release it. Oh shit! Wait, Lothar had a message on that goddamn dono. I apologize, Lothar. Lothar with his $15. As a matter of fact, just out of respect, my boy Lothar, I will let that shit play again. Hey, Lothar said, "What it do, your boy Lothar? What it do, your boy Lothar coming through?" Hey, yo, Lothar, I appreciate you, bro. Everywhere I look, you're in the One Piece community. Even if it's not giving donations, you're actively participating in the
It's just
conversation.
about.
Word.
Big up.
My boy Lothar, always coming through, always being hype. But transitioning into the next topic of how will Wano end, we're just gonna combine these two into one. Of how do you think Wano will end, and the new crew member possibilities. The possibilities being Carrot, Momonosuke, Yamato, Tama, Toko, etc. I feel like we've already talked about how we think Wano will end. Like I said, I think that Big Mom is going to go undergo the biggest disrespect out of all of the emperors, and she's going to follow into Elbaf or whatever the next arc is, or she's probably gonna sit out the next arc, because I don't think that we're going from Wano straight into Elbaf, which might be another big arc. I think we're gonna have a cool down arc, and Big Mom is going to prepare to continue to chase after Luffy. New crew member possibilities. Like I said, I made a video on who I think the last 3 crew members will be on the Straw Hat, which being Jinbei, Momonosuke, absolutely, mwah. And I also laid out the possibility that Vivi might be returning to the Straw Hats, because if Cobra was, because at the Reverie it was reported there was a casualty in an attempted assassination. If Cobra was the casualty, and and we already know that Cobra already brought up the topic of the voice entry and and the poneglyphs, which for the world government is a no topic. If you talk about it, you're dead. Look what they did to O'Hara. But seeing as how Cobra didn't spread that information around in Alabasta as a country is safe in itself. Vivi was probably the attempted assassination, but somebody like Sabo most likely saved her, and they pinned everything on Sabo. Vivi is probably on the run and making her way back to the Straw Hats. Now, I've had people come at me with the argument of, why wouldn't she just join the revolutionaries, especially if they're going to save Alabasta? Because Vivi doesn't know the revolutionaries. She knows that Sabo is Luffy's brother. She knows that Dragon is Luffy's father. But in terms of actually knowing these people, she doesn't know them from the sand that she just stepped on the way out of Alabasta. She doesn't know these people. She doesn't know what they're willing to do in order to quote unquote liberate some of these places. And she may not be in line with doing that. And if she's joining the revolutionaries just to save her country, she's not really in line with the revolutionary ideology of liberating everybody from the world government. And Cobra also has a will to be inherited if he is dead. And yes, it does still fall in line with Robin's dream of finding out the voice entry, but Cobra wants to know what happened with the 20 kings in the creation of the world government, the ancient kingdom, and why Alabasta decided to stay behind in their country rather than go live up in Mary Joie.
Yeah.
If Vivi go ahead.
That ties into Vivi beautifully, because we all think he most likely died in the Reverie, right? Cobra probably died.
Issues. He had health issues, and
it was set up. Yeah, it was telegraphed with the health issues and everything. He's most likely dead. So if he dies, and we know Oda loves his inherited will, so Vivi might have inherited his will to, go on forward.
Yeah, exactly. And she already has a captain. And people have also told me, hey, if Vivi joins the Straw Hats, she's going to hate Luffy for letting Robin join the crew. She already knows that Robin's on the crew, and she's even expressed that, hey, if Luffy decided she was good, she's good. She's good. I'm like, I have no issue with it. Like that.
I like her, man.
Yeah. I think the last people joining are Jinbei, Vivi, like returning Vivi, but that's probably not directly at the end of Wano. I think she's gonna make her way, and eventually meet up with them, and Momonosuke. And at the time I made that video, that was my absolute set. That was the last 3 set in my mind. But Yamato came in absolutely clutch. I loved Yamato. And at first let me say this, I do want Yamato to join, And
Yeah.
this is one of the reasons that I hate the carrot fans is because every time she was on screen, every time she waved her hand or said hi, that was being used as evidence for her to join the crew. But
Yeah.
I even put it on Twitter. I'm calling my own hypocritical nature on this. I'm doing the same thing with Yamato, except with Yamato. Except with Yamato, Yamato has already stated, because you were Ace's brother, I just assumed you'd let me on your ship. I want to be on your ship. That's one difference. The interaction between Yamato and Luffy, I was about to say her, but I don't want to disrespect anybody. But the difference between Yamato and Carrot is that Luffy has already shown more interest and interacted more with Yamato than Carrot did in all of the arcs that she's been there. Even in the anime fillers, where when they were on Zoe and Luffy was packing up to leave Zoe, and Carrot lovers on Oro Jackson love to shove this down my throat. The fact that Carrot was standing behind Luffy going, "Oh man, your crew is so amazing. I wish I could go out to the open ocean." Luffy showed no interest in anything she was saying, and she was praising his crew. He was just packing up while she was talking, going, and while she was talking, he said, "Hey, do you have any more of that meat that you had?" That's it. He shows no interest in Carrot. None.
I'm gonna hurt your heart right now, bro. I'm gonna hurt your heart.
Oh,
I think Carrot. I think Carrot has more chance of joining than Yamato.
I see the possibility of Carrot too, and I
don't think either of them are joining. I don't think either of them are. But I think Carrot has more of a chance than Yamato, and the reason I say this for one reason and one reason alone: character design. Dritz brought this point up in a discussion I had with him, and I can't stop thinking about it. Yamato is literally Nami with horns. She looks exactly like Nami, bro. And that's why I don't think she's joining, because you have to have a distinguishable character if you're introducing a new character to the main cast. They need to look distinctive from the rest of the main cast. You can't have someone that just looks like Nami prototype, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do, and I agree with you on that. And that's also one reason that there's some fan art of Yamato that I even used in one of my thumbnails earlier. Where is it? I have it right here somewhere. I'm probably looking right at it, but I can't find it. Fuck. But yeah, all right, now, here it is. Look in Discord. Here it is. There are slight changes to this image. Look at that image. There are slight changes that will make a character stand out from anything. Like the little changes. Look at the eyebrows on this image. Just the simple act of making the eyebrows thicker already distinguishes her apart from Nami so much. Yeah. So
exactly.
Much.
Oda is so obsessed with making these Nami prototypes.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
It's so easy to make her look different, bro. Because I would say it, but it's just the character design. That's like the only thing for me. Okay, that's why I don't think she's joining. Okay, but now, at the end of the day, it's still possible. I might be wrong.
But look, here's my thing about that. Character design does matter, but personality matters as well. Carrot is literally just female rabbit Chopper.
Yeah, okay, that's true. That's
female rabbit Chopper, and I mean that in more ways than one.
That's very true.
In terms of her abilities, yes, she's close range fighter. So is Chopper with Kung Fu Point. As a matter of fact, all of Chopper is close range.
Chopper is completely close range. Yeah, he's completely close range. He has some mid range attacks, but it's like no, he's completely close range. Even Monster Point is close range technically.
Yeah, and people have argued the fuck out of me. Please excuse my language. I'm going to get a censor button that I will hotkey. Because I'm trying to lower down, draw back on my cursing. But even people have argued me saying, "Oh, what about Sulong? Sulong, Chopper doesn't have a Sulong point. He's not a mink." In my opinion, Chopper is a mink in every way but name. The only difference between Chopper and a mink is that minks can only go Sulong once a month. You can argue me, "Oh, there are multiple moons. There's probably more nights with full moon." As far as we've seen, it's only once a month. Full moon once a month, and Chopper can go monster point, which is a pseudo Sulong, anytime he wants. And they both have the same drawback between Chopper and Carrot. After they go into that form for X amount of minutes, they are both pretty much useless afterwards. When Chopper gets his awakening form, whatever that may be, I think that Chopper's monster point, the way he gets it now, is a cheat way for him to get to his awakening form, which is imperfect now. He's overexerting himself. I'm not sure if you've ever read a series called Radiant, but there's a character in there named Merlin who is, I guess I can't remember what the hell he is, but he has a monster form where he's a deer. He's a deer monster. That is what I imagine for Chopper. I imagine that for Chopper. And as far as the Electro argument, I believe that Electro is a byproduct of the Minx's fur. I believe that any mammal Zoan, any Zoan with fur in their hybrid form could learn Electro. The only reason that they don't have it is because they don't have a mink to teach them. I believe that Chopper is going to learn Electro at some point as a type of power up for Chopper to add to his kit. It's not a massive power up, but it still is a power up.
Yeah, it's definitely a power up. Yeah, I would actually really enjoy that.
Carrot,
Chopper needs to do something, man. He's been trash for a minute.
He does. As much as I love Chopper, I will admit that he has been lacking in the showcase aspect of the overall point of the series.
Like with him, he's like, the reason why it's annoying is because like Zoro is lacking, but Zoro is barely on screen in like serious moments.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like whenever Zoro is rarely on screen and has the opportunity to do something. Chopper has had the opportunity quite a few times, like in Whole Cake. There was so many opportunities for Chopper to do something epic, but it hasn't happened.
One of my friends on Discord, he goes by the name of King Killer. I had him on stream a lot, and he wants a moment for Chopper where it's like the law saving Luffy at the end of Marineford moment, where it's a crazy surgery that has to be done under extreme circumstances, and I absolutely agree with that. I want that for Chopper, because as of right now, every time, like even after Whole Cake Island, Luffy had a massive hole in his gut. All we saw Chopper do was put bandages on it, and the next time we see Luffy, he's fine. I want Chopper to have that do or die like medical moment, whether it's for Luffy, whether it's for Zoro. After this,
I think it could happen.
Yeah, after this arc, I feel like it has to happen. There's no way that we go up against an emperor and it doesn't happen.
Exactly. I think the end of this arc is going to be a point where Luffy and Zoro both they surpass what happened to Zoro in Thriller Bark. Like nothing happened is probably the closest we've seen an MC to death. Like we've seen Luffy close to death with the poisoning, but that's a bit different because it's poison. But this is like blood loss and fatigue, and Zoro like that. He was literally on the brink of death. I think that's how close to death they should be by the end of this arc.
So far, I feel like the closest that we've ever gotten to that pivotal doctor moment for Chopper is Fishman Island, when he needed to find blood for Luffy. But that was more of a Jinbei moment than it was for Chopper. Jinbei,
I love that moment so much, man.
Jinbei destroying that bias, that racism between humans and Fishman. And yes, I do love that moment too. As a black,
that is such a good moment, bro.
With everything going on, and I don't mean to get political, but with everything going on in the world right now, looking back at that moment, it actually brings a tear to my eye.
It is such a beautiful moment, and the narrator and the anime and the OST is just oh my god, it's just perfect, bro. It's like that is an incredible scene, bro. Like Oda snapped. You see, this is the thing when it comes to like themes and whatnot. Even Wano, like what One Piece always hit on like a thematical on like a thematic level and delivering a message. Oda always snaps with that. He's amazing with that. Even Whole Cake Island, like the themes on Whole Cake Island are fantastic for an arc that I have at a 5 out of 10. I would call it an average arc for One Piece standards.
Okay.
My issue has been lately with the fundamental writing of the plot. Stuff like pacing, stuff like conveniences and shit that just doesn't make sense happening. Like Sanji's handcuffs being such a throwaway plot thread where it actually seemed like something significant to his character.
And that's
Or
it.
Zeph,
And that's the
like,
biggest point. That's I agree with you. The issues that I've been having with Wano, and I meant to say this earlier in the stream, is that a lot of plot points are just being thrown the fuck away. Everything, it feels like these things are big points, and then they build up to nothing. It's like a song with a beat drop, and the drop is just it goes from fucking flow rided to opera music. Like, no.
yeah,
Marco saying that he wasn't going to come to Wano. That was being set up as like this big thing.
yeah.
And turns out, and the conversation that Nekomamushi and Marco were having was being set up as Marco was telling him he's not coming at all. Give Luffy this message, I'm not coming. I'm sorry. And then turns out the message was just, I'm gonna be a little late. And then, even still, Marco and Nekomamushi still show up at the exact same time.
It was just like, it was pretty lackluster, man. I read that shit and it just felt so anticlimactic. I was like, the message said, "I'm gonna come pull up." Like, we know you're gonna come. Like,
yeah, like
what?
they sent him there to do exactly that, and like you're giving him a message to tell him I'm on my way.
Oda hyped up that message, bro. He actually hyped it up. Like, it wasn't like there has to be a reason for him choosing to do it like this, man. It's like, I don't know, man. Definitely very upset with that, or that I wouldn't say upset, but more dissatisfied.
Yeah. Gone, I have nothing against classical music. In high school, I was in the orchestra. I was an instrumental major in high school. I have nothing against classical music. As a matter of fact, black violin is one of my favorite artists.
Love to see it.
Yeah, right. All right. We are almost at the 2.5 hour mark, and we've sidebarred this shit to absolute hell. I think we can both agree that I think we both want Momonosuke to join the crew, correct?
Yes. I do want him to join the crew.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
As a matter of fact, on one of my on my video, I even got comments. I'm even still getting comments on it because I guess people still love the next crew member discussions. Is that Oh no! It wasn't on that. The Twitter post that the guy that I was talking about earlier in the stream, he made a point that if for Yamato to stay in Wano, it was a big point that he made. Fucking, I still can't find it, but he made a big point that Yamato staying in Wano to help Momonosuke, to assist Momonosuke as the Shogun, would actually do more to bridge the hatred that a lot of the Wano civilians may have against outsiders and the Beast Pirates, especially if Yamato is representing herself as a Kozuki, as an ally of the Kozuki, or as an official Kozuki retainer. Which if Yamato does join the crew, I think that's going to be Yamato's main focus. She's always going to be with Momonosuke. I feel like that's like Momonosuke needs protecting. Who better? And this goes back into parallels, which I really don't agree with 100%. The parallels between Roger's crew and Luffy's crew. We had somebody from Wano. We had Oden, and for a short time, we did have Oden's retainers, which were Nekomamushi and Inuarashi. We had, and this is one of the, I'm about to contradict myself here a little bit, but I don't care. We had Momonosuke's retainers traveling with us for a short time, which was Kinemon and Kanjuro, and dress from Punk Hazard all the way up until now. And hell, even Carrot traveled with us for a time, even though she wasn't there with Momonosuke. The Minks still have ties to the Kozuki, and we had the retainer there for the parallel. When or if Momonosuke joins the crew, I feel like the retainer that's going to stick with him is the new up and coming retainer, the new addition to the Kozuki family, which is Yamato. That is
interesting.
That is what I'm going to stick with until I am proven wrong. My stance on Yamato is a lot. Excuse me, goddamn. My stance on Yamato is a lot like my stance with Carrot. With Carrot, I see her possibility of joining. I do see her
It's
possibility.
not happening.
I
I
do
don't. I
see
don't
her
want it to be.
possibility, but I see
I
her
have a
possibility.
massive. I don't like her. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of people know this. I don't like that character, man. Like
The
it's a way.
community ruined Carrot for me. The
For,
community.
for me, for me, I feel that as well. But for me, it's like there's not a real substance to her character, in my opinion. And then especially when you add in the fact that her joining is just gonna take away from the rest of the crew, and it's gonna be like it's gonna feel weak because it's just like gags and
She
happy
wants
furry
her
fucking.
dream.
It's just chopper shit. It's just
Her
chopper.
dream is to go out to sea. We already have, I, I guess you could say, 3 people who want that. Chopper, his dream, like contrary to popular belief, is not to create a medicine that cures everything. His dream initially was to make friends and see the world, and to go out to see an adventure around the world with his friends. Usopp wants to be a brave warrior of the sea. He wants to go out, and Nami wants to draw a map of the world. We already have 3 people whose dreams is to adventure. And yes, I know that's contradictory because Yamato's dream is to go out to sea, but I'm sticking by it. Yamato just showed up, and there's no real stance for Yamato to join yet. Like I said, it's a similar stance. I have a similar stance with Carrot to Yamato. I see her possibility of joining. I do think that she has a chance, but I don't think she is, and I don't want her to. With Yamato, she's only been on screen for like what 3 chapters. Not enough to establish any real possibility of her joining. I want her to join. I think she's going to join, but as of right now, I can't say 100% that she's legitimately joining. I want her to join, but I can't back that statement up 100%. That like yeah, that's the stance that I have on Yamato and joining the crew. Momonosuke, if Yamato doesn't join, I'm okay. I don't have anything to stand with that, but Momonosuke, I'm a lot like you when it comes to Zoro killing Kaido. I'm not gonna budge on that. I'm not. You can
I
tell me,
feel that.
he's only
Nah,
8 years old. He can't do anything. I agree. We're fighting Emperor Cruz. There's not much he can do up against another commander. But do you know how old Shanks and Buggy were when they first joined
facts,
Roger's crew? They were
facts.
12. They were only 12 when they were at the Ed War against Shiki. And that was close towards the end of Roger's journey. They were on his crew for a couple years because Roger, even though he was from the East Blue, they still haven't told us where he picked up Rayleigh, but Crocus said that no, they stated that Roger had entered the Grand Line coming in from the West Blue, which is where Shanks was from. He was already on Roger's crew well before they even entered the Grand Line for that last journey. And they were still on that ship for a number of years because remember, they entered the Grand Line, sailed around once for I think they said it took 2 years, figured everything out, went around again, which only took a year, and then they disappeared for a year. And when they came back, the Roger Pirates started to disband. They slowly started to disband. So that's like 4 to 6 years prior to them even entering the Grand Line that Shanks and Buggy were on the crew. Momonosuke is not too young. He is not too young.
Shanks to me, no, Momonosuke to me, I really want him to join. This stream actually changed my mind. Like I was like 50% on it. Now I'm like 80% on it. When you mentioned that Robin point, that makes so much sense. The fact that she can teach him the language, because that is something that is lost now. He's lost his father. The Kozuki line is coming to an end. How is he gonna learn the language? This is the way. That's an amazing point. Robin teaching him being an apprentice on the ship. That's awesome.
People have also brought up the point of if he leaves, who's going to be the Shogun of Wano? I don't know. Maybe the person who's been in Wano.
If he stays, who's it going to be? If he stays, do you think it makes sense for him to be it if he stays?
If he leaves, who's going to be the person to run Wano? I don't know. Maybe it's the person who's been in Wano for the past 20 years, living with the people, understanding the downfalls of Wano, understanding what Wano was back then, rather than just jumping ahead through time. Hiyori, you ever thought about her? And somebody even brought up on I'm just gonna call it Oro Jackson because Thriller Bark just doesn't roll off the tongue like that. But
Yeah.
on Oral Jackson in the next Nakama thread, they brought up the fact that Kozuki, fucking Oden's father, the reason that his father that the Kozuki line was not going to be a shogun anymore is because Oden's father wasn't born yet. He didn't have a male heir. With the way Wano is building up, it would stand to reason that a lot of old ways are being outdone. Like they're being done away with old ways. So it doesn't matter if she's a female or a male. Look at some of the strong people in this arc. We got Kiku, who's a dude who wants to be who believes that she's a woman. And you got Yamato, who's a female who's a man out of respect for Oden. Like gender really does not matter in the terms of One Piece as of right now. The line of succession no longer requires you to be a male. That's my point. Hiyori is going to become the shogun or the ruler of Wano, help rebuild. Momonosuke can go out to sea to learn leadership, to learn swordsmanship, because he wants to be strong enough to become the shogun. Hell, Oden didn't want to be the shogun, but when he left and came back, he was a lot stronger in terms of strength, but his morality, his train of thought was a lot different. But he still wanted to take over as shogun, but couldn't. Momonosuke going out to sea, following a similar path that his father did, and then coming back and actually becoming the shogun, would complete what his father failed to do. Momonosuke would be a leader worthy of ruling Wano. He helped open the borders and then left and came back worthy of that title. Because as of right now, Momonosuke has no understanding of what it means to lead these people. We saw that in the prison when they bowed to Momonosuke. He understood the gravity and the weight that being in charge of all of these people actually meant, and he was frozen. There's just nothing. There's just no way for me to rationalize Momonosuke staying in Wano. None.
Fact.
But yeah, that Momonosuke, 100%, I think he's leaving. You can't change my mind. Absolutely.
I hope so, man.
But next arc, let's move on from the new crew member possibilities. We both agree that Momonosuke is joining. Carrot can go fuck off somewhere. Who cares? I don't care. Roger, I am sorry, but no. No. I blame Roger for a lot of the Carrot stuff that was said on Oro Jackson. I blame Roger.
I've heard he's like the biggest advocate.
Oh yeah, when she first showed up, Roger loved her. Roger's face loved Carrot. Just instantly, next crew member, Carrot for Straw Hat. No, I'm sorry, Roger, dude. I don't see it. I don't want it. She can leave. But next arc predictions, because we're going to have to start winding down soon. We are in 2.5 hours. Fiji, thank you for sticking around for so long.
Thank you for having me, man.
I know when you first came in here, you said it was like 9:30 p.m. or like 9 p.m. for you.
Oh, it's midnight for me, brother.
Jesus Christ. Thank you for
we
sticking
good though,
around,
man.
bro.
It's good, man.
Next arc predictions. Jesus Christ. I don't even know where to begin with this, because after Wano, after Wano and Onigashima and Kaido, how do you follow up something like this? I do think that we might go into a cooldown arc. Hell, we might sail to the next island, because after Wano, we have no definitive plans on where we're going next as of right now. So the only logical thing is to follow the log posts. So we may go to an island. Like Nami and them may suggest, especially with Jinbei, who's already been shown to be able to persuade Luffy, we're not gonna go to the island where the needle is going the craziest. Let's go to this one. We need to chill. We need to just calm down a little bit. Maybe we go to an island that's kind of cool. Yeah, like I said, it's a cool down. Something to let everybody just collect themselves, and we can finally get that goddamn feast, because Jinbei hasn't had his feast. Luffy even said it. They got the sake, and they said, yeah, we'll toast after we beat Kaido. And if the Marines pull up, especially with Orochi not coming in, and God damn, I wish that I could find this dude's tweet because he made a really good point. Fuck. But yeah, after going out, after leaving out, and say we're on just a deserted island, we can, and we have Jinbei, we got Momonosuke, we got Yamato, and let's just say Vivi does come back at that point. That's 4 goddamn crew members that joined, and Jinbei didn't even get his singular toast to welcoming him into the crew. I would love for us to be on that deserted island and just the Straw Hats all together again, sent for the first time, like really fucking together. No allies, no tag-alongs, nothing. Just the Straw Hats singular together on this island, giving that toast and partying together. That's what I want. That's what I want to follow Wano up with.
Yeah. So for me, it's practically impossible to say what can happen after Wano, and that is why I'm so fucking excited. Ever since Punk Hazard, this is one of my, I wouldn't call it a complaint, but this is one of the things that makes post-time skip a little less enjoyable for me, right? And that's the fact that ever since Punk Hazard, we have had a destination. After Punk Hazard, we knew we were going to Dressrosa. After Dressrosa, we knew we were going to Zou. After Zou, even though it came out of nowhere and it was like a random plotline, we still knew we were going to Whole Cake Island, so we knew the destination. After Whole Cake Island, we knew we were going to Wano. But for now, for the first time in over 300 chapters, we don't know where we're going.
Exactly.
It's just going to be journey and adventure. We're going to get on the ship. There might be a destination. There could be, because they might read the newspaper and see what's going on with Vivi and Sabo and say, you know what, we need to get involved and
we
go
need to
somewhere.
go that way, because
the
way
that might happen.
A lot of people keep saying that the log pose is taking them straight up the Grand Line, straight up through the Grand Line. I do believe that, but I think it's more of an indirect route because they're choosing between 3 different needles. One needle, you could be going straight, and then you can make a 90-degree turn or a 160-degree turn and going back down a little bit and then going up and then all the way over. You could be zigzagging through the new world, but you're not necessarily going in a direct path. So the next island that we go to could very well be closer to the red line than Wano is. Like, I'm not saying that's definite. I'm just saying it's a possibility because we're following 3 different needles. We're zigzagging through rather than, like in Paradise, we follow one singular needle going straight ahead. Mm-hmm. So we definitely could have something where we have to meet up with Vivi or we run into Vivi somewhere. Or if we do know the next destination, like say, like, okay, we're headed to Elbath next. The next destination isn't necessarily Elbath.
Like, they don't know they're gonna go to Elbath and they just arrive there. That would be dope.
Yeah.
Because like remember pre-time skip, bro, it's like we knew we were going to Reverse Mountain, but then once we got to Reverse Mountain and we got out of there, we never knew where we were off to. Like, we go to Whiskey Peak.
We ended up inside. Technically, we ended up on another island. It was Laboon, but technically it was a new island. Give me 1 second, Fiji. Give me 1 sec, Fiji. My family's calling me. Just keep the conversation going. Please interact with chat. I'll be right back.
Bet. What's chat saying? What is chat saying? The log pose needs to come back. I got you. If Oda is serious about 5 years, there won't be a cooldown arc. It's not going to be 5 years. I would say from like 7 to 9 years to be safe. Something like that. That's what I would go for. Fiji, thoughts on the editor comments? So I just think it's Oda hyping shit up as per usual. Not Oda, his editors just hyping shit up as per usual. It could be a crazy chapter, but I'm not going to get my expectations up because getting your expectations up is just gonna it could end in failure or like disappointment, and that's something I don't want. So I'd rather just think it's gonna be an average chapter. But since it's 987, that is what I'm happy about. If it was 986, then I would be like, damn, why are they hyping this shit up? But 987 tells me that it could be great because there's gonna be some setup for this big moment in the next chapter. So imagine next chapter is the final chapter in Act 3, and then 987 is an intermission chapter. That would be crazy. Shogun Hiyori and First Man of Wano, Mr. Zoro. I think the log pose at this point is kind of ruled out. We only need one more road polyglyph. Yo, Fiji. Yamato looks like Nami, but she's gonna wear the Oni mask 24/7 and wear the Wano armor 24/7. I don't think she would if she joins the crew. Like 24/7, wear a mask and armor? I don't know about that. I don't know if Oda has it in him to draw that every every goddamn Yamato panel. That must get tiring. Like I know, like I don't know if you read Kingdom, but Osen's mask. I know Hara hates drawing that every single panel, bro. That shit is so detailed that like it's just long to draw every single panel. That drip would be nice, yeah, it would be awesome, but I just don't see it. Yeah, you're right. Drawing that would be cancer. Yeah, that must be a headache. Imagine drawing that every page. Would be wild. Happened with Toriyama, but it's a different race. She's not human too. While
All
you
right.
have on the other side the Chopper 2.0.
All right, yo,
Fiji,
I'm
thoughts on the
back.
Berserk chapter? Peak fiction, 10 out of 10 greatness.
All right, I'm
That
back.
was good, you back.
Page one. I see you trying to sneak that in. Moon arc. I am not for it. I don't want us to become space pirates. I'd rather us go to Davy Jones' locker or some shit. I see you. But yeah,
What are my expectations for the Marines or world government in the rest of this arc? I feel like they're definitely gonna have a role to play, but mainly through sword.
yeah,
And
pretty much.
I don't know if an admiral was pulling up until the end of the arc. What I do really, 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 really want from the end of Wano is for Garp to pull up in the same way Sengoku pulled up to Dressrosa, and just pull up and just eat some like crackers and just fuck around. That's sorry, excuse my profanity, but you know what I'm saying?
Bro.
Like just pull up and mess around.
with the
I would like that.
with Orochi demanding Vegapunk, I don't think that they were ever going to actually give him Vegapunk. And with Orochi now indisposed with Orochi being indisposed right now, if the Marines do show up and they try and integrate Wano into the world government, I don't think it's going to go over exactly how a lot of people think that they're going to be a part of the world government now. I think they're going to be an independent nation because Wano is not a country that's going to pay a heavenly tribute to the celestial dragons. They're just not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Last anime productions. What happened to Tashigi for Nakama? Oda changed things for that to not happen. My want for Tashigi to be a part of the crew came from a fan fiction perspective and the fact that I like Tashigi a lot more than most people. I never actually believed in the context of the story that she joined. I would have liked for her to join, and if Wano played out how I wanted it to, or how I expected it to, I would have loved for Tashigi to come get some development, especially if she showed up without Smoker to establish her as her own character. But as of right now, nah, Tashigi's Marines all the way. If Tashigi did join the crew, it would have given Smoker like way more of a reason to go to chase down Luffy. It would have done like Luffy would have been able to do something that Roger never did to Garp. He took his right hand man. Like I would have liked it. Hell, in my fan fiction crew, I still have Tashigi in there, but like I don't see it happening. I like Tashigi, I really do, but she's
know you
not
do,
joining the
man.
crew. She's not joining the crew. Hey, hey,
uh,
Fiji, look in Discord. That's my fan fiction crew, bro. That's my fan fiction crew.
Oh, I'm loving the top, bro, already. That's 3 of my top. So I dropped a video yesterday, top 10 favorite characters in One Piece.
Oh yeah, I saw
And
it. Trust and believe, I saw it.
yeah, man. So Luffy, Zoro, Luffy's my number 1 favorite. A lot of people don't know that. They think it's Zoro. The thing is, right, I joined the community at such a Zoro time. Like the topic of discussion is Zoro. people were hyping this to be Zoro's arc for so many years, and right now it doesn't feel like that. And a lot of people don't think it is gonna be Zoro's arc, and I fully understand that. Trust me, and I get why people don't think this is Zoro's arc. But I am still clinging to the possibility of it being Zoro's arc, and that's why I make so many videos about him, and everyone thinks I'm a massive Zoro tard. And I am. I fucking love Zoro. He's my second favorite character. But I do like Luffy a little more, so I need to show him some love and make some videos about my goal.
Oh, absolutely, bro. Yo, I apologize to everybody joining the Discord. Well, first off, thank you for joining the Discord, but I could have sworn I deleted the links for it. The Discord is pretty much dead. Like, if y'all want to start conversation topics, like, more power to you, but like, just to warn y'all, the Discord is pretty much dead. I only use it for discussions and pretty much an image bank. But if y'all want to keep the Discord going, like, we can keep it going. But yeah, bro, that's my
My Discord similar.
That's
my Discord a little
similar.
similar. Yeah, bro, that's lit. You got Nami Navigator.
Yeah, a lot of them are non-canon characters. Some of them I even reworked to fit my shit, to fit like a narrative that I came up with, and every single one of them has an arc. And the two next to Vivi are from a One Piece game that came out for a console called the Wonder Swan that leads into essentially what's One Piece Shippuden. And I just went wild to the point where I have originally I only had one OC character for my fan crew, and as it kept going on, it developed into five fucking OC characters. In the Discord, look in Discord, the 5 bottom slots are my OC characters.
Got you.
It got out of hand, bro.
Scout, no man, cursing. That's like, you loving this shit, bro.
It got out of hand, and I apologize to my future self for whatever scrutiny you may come under for like these fan fictions and shit. But yeah, I feel like we covered everything. Did we?
I feel like we did.
Yeah,
I feel like we did go through it all, man.
Yeah, we got through all of the topics, and we are at, if we're going on 3 hours, I'm about to almost 3 hours of the discussion. This I feel like this was successful. I'm gonna call it successful. But I gotta be to work in like an hour and a half. Fiji, I'm gonna let you go. It's like midnight, you said. I'm gonna let you go.
Yep.
Get some sleep, bro, because you absolutely deserve it. Thank you for
I
being
ain't even going to sleep, bro. But thanks for having me, bro. Thanks for having me. This was a great discussion.
Thank you for coming through. Like I said, I want to start doing more of this, like the collaboration discussions. Anytime you want to discuss a hot take, or just generally anything going on in the community, let me know. We will put this together again. I apologize for not interacting with the chat as much as I wanted to. I really did not expect us to be on these topics for as long as we were. But that's the One Piece community.
It happens, man.
Are you guys gonna hop on to Zoro Fanboy stream?
Oh, he going off. Him and Cole fighting right now.
Oh shit! The Grand Live Chronicles is going on right now. I'll be in the chat, but I'm gonna be getting ready for work. I need to get me something to eat. Thank you to everybody who subscribed. Thank you to everybody who showed up in the chat. Thank you, Fiji, for coming through. Thank you, Lothar, for your donations. Hey, thank you to everybody for just supporting. Take it easy, everybody. I will talk to y'all next week for the new chapter. And if there's another break coming up, which I have the schedule, I think we got 2 chapters before the next break. I'll try and see who I can, do a collaboration with. As a matter of fact, people are joining the Discord. Join the Discord and let me know who y'all think I should try and get on to collaborate with. Don't say Sawyer, because that's a meme. Everybody knows it's impossible to get Sawyer, and I don't even think Sawyer knows who I am. But yeah, take it easy, everybody. Talk to y'all next week.